Welcome, everybody, for another Velocity Motorsports. We are at Talladega tonight, and these next-gen cars are flying around this big, giant track. I'm joined in the booth, as always, with Shadilak. Shad, we've got race number 9 coming up tonight. We've got about, 25, 26 drivers as of right now that have put up some laps. There are a lot of contenders in this group, but as we all know, it does not matter until we come off of turn 4, and even then, it's probably still through the straightaway before we can really determine who might win this race. Anybody that you're paying attention to tonight, and then you got any details for us on what pit strategies and things like that might be tonight as well?
Keep an eye on the guys with the most teammates, and I think that's going to be that stable of fueled up motorsports. I think they got 5 teammates in that group, so obviously the more the merrier with those guys. But you never know who's made some teammates that aren't actual teammates out there during this practice session. Guys finding out who can push, who can take a push, and who's more comfortable with holding the line and whatnot. So you never know who's going to be paired up when this thing gets going. But as far as fuel strategy, we're looking at about 20 to 23 laps. 20 if you're leading the pack, probably 23 if you're back in the draft. For as far as fuel mileage, so these guys cannot make it to that lap 35 stage break that we'll have tonight. So obviously there's going to be a bit of a strategy call there. Tires tonight, Kurt, won't really mean anything around Talladega, as you can run 40 laps on these things and they'll still say they have 99% on them. So guys are just going to have to keep it clean and green, hopefully. And when they make their fuel stops, do not speed, because this is one of the last places you want to speed on pit road, as obviously you're going to lose the draft. So keys are going to be getting on and off of pit road, and getting down the, I think it's 55 miles an hour speed road, pit road, speeding limit. There we go. But yeah, those are the facts for tonight, Kurt.
Well, Chad, the temperatures for tonight, track temp is going to be 123. That is scorching at this big track, which is usual for Talladega. It's usually a hot summer day that we see them go to Talladega for super speedway racing. Draft is the biggest thing in this thing, trying to conserve while you're in the pack. Maybe running about 60-70% on throttle. If you are the leader, you're going to have to probably be full tilt most of the time. You're going to want to be looking in the mirror a lot. Most of these drivers here will be looking in the mirror more than they'll be looking out the windshield for the most part. You're going to have to probably drag brake just a little bit to stay with the guy pushing you. We also know pushing the pusher is not ideal in this situation with this many cars on track. 2x2 is what we'll see a lot of. We could see some 3-wide racing in some sorts. We've got a wide enough track for it for sure. Just really depends on who's in line for that 3-wide racing and if they really can trust each other to be down there to hold a good wheel. Holding the good wheel is what makes this track the fastest out there and probably the most entertaining. Most people go and watch Talladega or watch Talladega on TV or watch these iRacing events to watch, the big one. That's what we're always waiting for. We know it's inevitable. It's going to happen at some point. Daytona this season, we saw it coming off of turn 2, massive wreck where 2 guys kind of squirted out of there and went to victory lane with no real contention of battling with anybody else besides just the 2 of them. So will we see the same thing tonight? We don't know. We will know when we get through the tri-oval, as the finish line is not in the tri-oval as it is like Daytona. It is at the end of pit road, so you still got a long way to go once you get to the tri-oval. It's not over yet. A lot of last lap passes happen in that tri-oval, Shadow. We're coming to the finish line. We've seen a lot of photo finishes coming to the finish line as well at these super speedways. So there's a lot of different things that can happen in this race from start to finish. We'll see guys that maybe are a little more aggressive off to start. You usually want to be either in the front or at the tail end of the line. You don't want to be in the middle in that hornet's nest, is what we always say, because that's where most of the big damage comes from. But we've seen guys wreck from the front. We've seen guys wreck in the middle. We've seen guys wreck at the back. There's wrecks coming from any spot on this track, from front to back. Does not matter. Pit entry, just like Shad said, will be key tonight. Pit entry, pit exit. We've seen guys spin going into pit road, trying to get down to speed, locking them up, trying to make that late entry into pit road and spinning them. We've seen all kinds of different things happen from every which way we can at this track. It's a beautiful, big, giant 2.65-mile oval. I think we have 100 laps tonight, Shad. We have that stage break at 35, so this thing's gonna get interesting. Uh, Looks like we've got now, what is that gonna be? 28, 27 on track. So big field. It's gonna be entertaining. So let's get to it, Shad. We've got Sandra Nielsen out there saying, Johnny, have to be in your night, or has to be your night tonight. Granny is right here watching. Definitely appreciate you coming out and watching, Sandra, over on YouTube. You can catch this on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and over on the Roku channel for iRock TV. If you got that Roku stick or Roku app on your TV, go to iRock TV, IROC TV, and you can pull up this stream right here in 4K if you have a 4K TV. We've got a lot of different sponsors for this league, Shad. It's been a great league so far, great season, second season for us. We've got sponsors all over the place between Trophy Shop Canada, where you can get all your trophy needs that you need. Go up there and, if you got a league, or if you got a little league team, or you got just a trophy you want to put in your house, fantasy football league, whatever it is, you can get your trophy needs from there. And we've got that Alexandria Customs Lucky Dog Award that'll go to the Lucky Dog every single time we have a caution or the stage break. Go to alexandriacustoms.com to get a custom PC built for you on how you want to play, what you want to play, and they will design it perfectly for that specific scenario. And then we've got what we got? Admin box, where you can get a button box created for you for your racing needs. Button boxes are really, really fantastic. I do not have one myself, but all the guys that I know that have them, they say they work awesome for their racing needs that they need them for, whether it's talking to their teammates, push buttons, starting the car, clutching, whatever they want to use them for, they can use all the different buttons. So those are our three major sponsors for this league here of Velocity Motorsports, race number 9 at Talladega. Shall we've only got 2 races left for the regular season, then we head into the playoffs. Right now, Nick Gowan is out front by about 70 or 80 points over Jose Ruiz and Jovi Ray, who's sitting third. Top 12 is getting close. A lot of guys are fighting for that last position to get into the round of 12 for the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. And this is, like in real life NASCAR, usually Talladega was the cutoff between, the chase and the regular season. And guys would be coming in here maybe needing points, or maybe not trying to give up too many points. And this track is the equalizer. Over the years, Daytona, Talladega, now with the new layout with Atlanta, these super speedways, anyone can win. I mean, we've seen Michael McDowell win the Daytona 500. Nobody's seen that. This year, Ricky Stenhouse winning the Daytona 500. Talladega is the same thing. Anyone can win. I think David Reagan won one year here at Talladega. I think getting pushed by his teammate, which was Michael McDowell. So yeah, Talladega is a great equalizer, Kurt. Anyone can win. It doesn't take a whole lot of skill to drive around here by yourself. But when it comes to the pack, that's where the skill comes in, and holding the line, taking a push, or just not pushing someone in the wrong spot to get around here safely. As far as tonight, Kurt, when I'm sitting here looking at the laps, we got 80 laps in the race tonight, with that stage break coming in at lap 35. Meaning we'll probably get to go back green on lap probably 37 or 38. Fuel mileage could come key if this thing wants to go green from there on out, because if you stay in the draft, you can make it on one stop. Those out front, though, will not be able to make it on one stop. So if this thing goes green after the stage breaker, we could be seeing some cars coming and going depending on where they are in the draft. So that's kind of my only strategy play for tonight. Other than that, take tires during the stage break. Other than that, unless there's a caution, fuel only.
Yeah, I'd probably agree. I would only do fuel only. Maybe 2 tires here and there, depending on how much fuel you need. I mean, on a full fuel run, you're going to have to put 2 cans in no matter what, so you might as well throw maybe half a set on. But it's not really going to do a whole lot. We might help a little bit in the turning and things like that, but I wouldn't take tires unless it was actually a caution stop. But even then, you could still do 2 tires and try to get out in front of some others that will be doing 4 tire stops. But Chad, Really, it doesn't matter where you are in the field because we've seen guys go from front to back in just a lap or two. They can get a massive draft pull on these guys, and they can go right to the front. So it just really depends on where you're at the end of the night and if you can make it to the end of the night. A lot of this is survival. A lot of this is a 50-50 shot on whether or not you even make it to the end, or if you're sitting on pit road watching the race from the grandstands. It's a crazy race to go from start to finish.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, these speedways to me have never been very lucky, even though I was able to get my first win a couple weeks ago in league racing here at Talladega. And it was just surviving the chaos and making it through the wrecks at the end, which led to that win. And a lot of times that's what these super speedways come down to, is just making it through and making it to the end of these races. One fast repair tonight, Kurt. These guys do not want to use that right away in this race, because then you playing pretty much defensive the rest of the night. You want to be able to hang on to that thing, because we know there's going to be cautions more than likely. When we get down to 20 to go here, guys are going to start being very aggressive, and the taking is going to be more prevalent than the giving. So look out for that tonight. But Kurt, looks like they're starting a grid, so you better start that national anthem.
Already played it before you went in here tonight. Just figured to get in and get going here, but I'll empty the screen. We'll bring up the grid, and we'll talk about tonight's starting positions here. And it looks like we've got
30.
30 on the grid, Chad. Wow, that's a lot of cars in this league. Pole is going to be the one and only Bill Hales, Chad, in the 53, getting the pole tonight. Wesley Jeanette going to be starting on the outside in the 74. Jose Ruiz, second in the points right now. Our silent assassin is what I keep calling him. He is sitting third tonight. Cole Martin going to roll off fourth. Chris Murphy, teammate to Jose Ruiz, is going to roll off fifth. Jason Blaney, sixth. Bill Sleep, seventh. John Tiller, eighth. Mike Carter, ninth. Mike Papa Bear Campbell in the 71 paint scheme done by one and only the Cadillac in the booth. We'll be looking at that paint scheme tonight for Nigu out there. He is rolling off 10th tonight, Chad. Devontae Peterson bringing back another old school Kellogg's, kind of Terry Labonte, Mark Martin, whatever. I don't even know which paint scheme it is, but he's running it tonight at 11th. Nathan Mon will be rolling off 12th. Johnny Dispaquali in that 42 will be rolling off 13th tonight. Nate Line will be rolling off 14th. Ryan Crooks in the 15th. Jovi Ray, 16th. Logan Joyner, 17th. Connor Elliott, 18th in that 15 Chevy machine. Hagen Joyner will be rolling off 19th. John Osborne, 20th. Isaac Brock, 21st. Jake Roel, 22nd. Nate Gowan, 23rd. Tyler Pelanger, 24th. Andrew Bolander will roll off 25th tonight. Brandon Watkins in that 44th, Chad. Your sleeper pick from a few weeks ago will roll off 26th. Austin Walton in the 9 will roll off 27th. Or 28th, sorry. Ryan Horvath will roll off in 29th, and Sean Walton will roll off 30th out of 10, or the number 10 Toyota. Chad, 30 cars on the field. That's a great show out for Talladega over in this Yellowwood sponsored track. It's going to be a crazy night with 30 guys, 2x2, sometimes 3x3. It's going to get wild.
Yeah, actually, it doesn't surprise me to see that 53 Toyota Bill Hales out front. I've seen a lot of his Facebook posts, Kurt, and he wins a lot when it comes to super speedways. I've seen some of his videos where he's making last lap passes, or just happens to be out front of these things in his league races. So good showing by him, obviously, to put that thing on the pole. And I don't know who his teammates are, but he's going to need them here at the start. And Kurt, I'm looking in that top row. I see 3 teammates out of the first 4 cars on that top side, with that 31 of Cole Martin being the only one to break those 3 cars up. So I wouldn't be surprised if they try to shuffle that 31 out of line so they can have 3 team cars all lined up here at the beginning on that outside, which I think the outside, Kurt, may prevail here. It tends to carry that momentum down these straightaways.
Yeah, and while we have those teammates on the outside line, Chad, we got teammates on the bottom row with Jose and Chris Murphy. Those two have finished second or third in almost every single super speedway race we've had in Velocity Motorsports. They have been dominant on the super speedways. Their other teammate, John Osborne is going to start 20th, so he's going to have some making up to do to get back up to the front to battle it out with these teammates. Last time we seen these two teammates next to each other was just a couple weeks ago, and they wrecked each other on the second lap of the race as they went across the start-finish line. So we'll see if they can play nice tonight. But those teammates up on the top line, Chad, I believe you're right. I think they're going to try to kick that 31 out of line as quickly as possible. But Bill Hells, I know him and Papa Bear and a couple others. They've known each other. They've raced each other. Bill definitely is very good at super speedways. Pace car is going to head down that long front stretch, Chad, and we've got these guys coming through the tri-oval right now. It's going to get crazy as we get closer and closer to the green flag to start this race number 9 at Talladega for Velocity Motorsports. Green flag is in the air as they come into the restart zone. Bill Hells is on the gas pedal. We are underway at Talladega.
Staying close together. Definitely do not want to get a giant lead in front of the pack as they will eventually swallow. They're a lot tighter grouped together, at least with those front 4 cars up there. But it's going to take them a little bit to get that momentum rolling. But still, out front, Bill Hells has got himself clear. But here comes that high line led by that 74 of Wesley Jeanette.
Yeah, Wesley Jeanette out front on the outside, trying to get in between with Cole Martin there. Those Fueled Up Motorsports guys were working together a lot, and you see one of them try to dive down to the bottom and get in front of Bill Hells. Cole Martin shifting down to the bottom lane, Chad.
22 of Jason Blaney dummied that Cole Martin down to the bottom line. Once Cole went down, he went back up to his 3 teammates. So right there, that's how you shuffle him out cleanly. They pulled the old switcheroo on him, and now we got 3 team cars, Kurt, on the bottom line leading the pack.
You're saying that 22 rope-a-doped him then. But, yeah, 53 down to the bottom, right with the 23 and 7. 31 now on the outside as well. Wesley Jeanette and his 2 teammates have pulled a little bit of a lead, Chad, already. We've seen these 3 work together before. Jason Blaney, John Tiller, and Wesley Jeanette all out front. They've got a gap on the rest of the field, but the more side-by-side action we see of the other car, Chad, will that allow these guys to pull away? It does not look like that. It looks like they're going to suck back up to them. They didn't get far enough out that the field will come flying past them, but it's not smart to get too far in front of the field, especially with this many cars packed into each other.
Yeah, I mean, they got out to about 3/10, which is pretty good, but to lose the draft of the cars behind you, you're going to have to get over a half a second lead. And unfortunately for those 3 cars up front, they just were not able to do it. But now that they have a 4th car in their little group, that would, I think, be enough. If they could get any separation, that's what it would be. But right now, the side drafting isn't that hard between, the top. Not really holding each other's line up. Once the top line or bottom starts side drafting, that's when they really start to hold the in front of them, start to pull a gap. But so far right now, everyone knows that it's early in this race. The side drafting is not very strong right now. And everyone's kind of just playing it safe right now to get some laps in.
These guys are a lot of a pack. We've got 2 different packs forming, and that's that normal traditional thing we see happening with guys breaking off to stay back from the pack. Do you think that is an early strategy to call and do this and try to conserve and stay back and avoid any incidents that happens in front of you? You and I both have kind of fought about this, and we've gone back and forth strategies on whether or not it's the best thing to be up front or be in the back. Just hang on and wait for all the big carnage to happen. What do you think is going on here, and do you think that is a good strategy now?
I mean, it could be if you're expecting, a wreck here at the beginning stages of the race. Keep yourself out of it and hang on to that fast repair for sure. The thing about this second packer is they have to stay single filed. If they start running too wide back there, they're going to lose the pack for sure, or at least lose any more time. If they can stay single filed the way they are right now, have some good pushing between, the first and second car leading that pack, they can make up time actually on the pack when it's side by side. So right now, I think they're pretty good as long as they stay single file. But, I've tried this strategy, and then, towards the end of the race, said, okay, it's time to go, get up there, and then get wrecked out. so it's pretty much luck to get around here. Um, but hey, this is what these guys have decided to do to start this race. Play it kind of safe, and we'll have to wait till the end to see how that pans out for them.
And on my screen, it looked like somebody was blinking hard. I think it was Chris Murphy was actually moving all over the place on my screen.
Yeah,
he's dropping back. That's what he's doing.
Chris Murphy is dropping back right now. See if that latency clears up. I see his car on the track now, but it did disappear there for a little while. So I'm not sure if maybe he had a storm, or maybe the wife or something was watching a YouTube video. But looks to have cleared up right now.
Yeah, he's moved all the way to the backpack shed. He's moved all the way down to 24th. So internet problems are not good to have, especially on super speedway shed, because we're so close to racing side by side or three wide, and you've really got to be able to count on that person being there. And when you blink on screen, the driver behind you can't see where you're at on screen no more, so he's got to anticipate that you're still there and that you haven't wrecked or turned or slowed down or anything. So it's really hard to pay attention to people when they are blinking. Chris is not known for blinking, Shad, so it's kind of odd to see him having
wrecking
issues.
her 8 car around. I don't believe he hit anything.
No caution, yeah.
Yeah, caution is out.
Oh, caution is out. So we'll go back and take a look and see what happened to Mike Carter. Looks like he was battling back there for about P21 with Austin Walton. So we'll take a look back and see what happened to this 8 car of Mike Carter.
That's a massive checkup.
All right, so we're on the 8 car there, and it looks like he gets turned by the 81 of John Osborne, but we'll see what started it before that. And yeah, Shad, I see the 63. Looks like he checked up from the 34 and the 21. 81 didn't expect anything happening. 8 didn't really expect anything either. And that's just that accordion effect. One guy checks up, and it might not be the second or the third guy that gets involved in an incident, but the 5th, 6th, 7th guy, once the checkups have gotten that far, it's just hard to anticipate anything. And really, you can't see anything when you're behind these cars, Chad, when you're bumper to bumper. You can only really see to the left and right of them. So there's a lot of times where guys will even come up on a slower draft car that's a lap down car and not even know he's there. And the guy in front of him swerves to miss him, and he runs right into him because he didn't have time to react.
Yeah, it's just the accordion effect. But looking at, each car, the 81 and the 8, I don't see really any damage on either one. So they both should be good to go. Maybe just, minor few seconds here and there for both of them. But yeah, I mean, the rear spoilers on these cars are so massive. You literally, like you said, you cannot see. You kind of have to anticipate the turns. You need communication when there's a checkup. And unfortunately, with no one saying anything right there, guys didn't know. And by the time you get back to that 4th, 5th car in line, it just stacks them up. Carrying 190 mile an hour, it's hard to slow down that quickly when you're that close to somebody. So good on them, at least with no damage. I'll take that. And from here, Kurt, they should be able to make their pit stops. And no, they still cannot make it to the stage.
No, it's close, but I don't think they can make it that far.
Yeah, I think 23 laps in the draft. We're going to go back green with, 12 laps in, maybe 11 laps in. So, yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be able to make it. They're going to have to either split it in half or come down as late as possible and then just take a quick splash.
Shad, I'm not sure what happened to the temperature, but we got some cloud cover out there. We dropped almost 15 degrees. We dropped from 120 something to 108 for a minute there, and it looked like it got dark.
Yeah, I noticed during qualifying, actually, I looked over there at the temperature and it said 115, and I'm like, must be getting some pretty good clouds right now because it dropped 7 degrees that quickly. But yeah, like you were saying, track temperature now says 109. So what do we drop down? 13 degrees since practice was going on.
Yeah, this
which
track
should
is so
help these
big, Chad.
cars.
If you get any cloud cover in one corner, it doesn't really do anything because it's only in that small section of the track because this track is almost 3 miles long. So, I mean, like you see in Daytona, Talladega, we've seen it with rain. It might be raining in one little spot over in the corner, but in 3 and 4, but in 1 and 2, front stretch, back stretch, it ain't raining. So, this track is just so big that it's hard to keep up with it when it does have Mother Nature kick in. But the cloud cover should bring a little bit more grip to the track, Shad. It won't be as slick if it's not as hot. But yeah, to drop from 123, I think is what we were at the beginning of the race. It's now down to 108.
Yeah, look, as these guys go by pit road, we see the strategy plays start to come into effect. We see a bunch of cars come down, coming down pit road to top off. Yeah, to try to make it to that stage. If they're in the back of the pack, they're obviously getting that draft, and I think they could go 23 laps with the draft. So, going green with, 11, still puts it really close to where, yeah, you might be able to make it to the end of the stage, but you are not going to make it that pace lap to be able to make it back around. But I don't know, maybe they're getting better fuel mileage to where maybe they can go 24, 25 in the pack. But I guess we'll have to find out.
Yeah, Sandra out there saying, Johnny, I know you will be in the group 10 before group or 20 laps are done. Let's go, buddy. Johnny is actually up to 9th, so up 4 positions from a starting position. So Johnny's actually moving up through with his Fueled Up Motorsports teammates. 3 of them in the front right now, Shad. First, second, and third, all secured by a Fueled Up Motorsports teammate. It's looking like what you said. The more friends you have out here, the better you usually are. These guys are really good super speedway racers from what I've heard. So not surprised to see them up here. And with that group of guys who have dominated these last super speedways here in Velocity Motorsports this last 2 seasons, kind of missing somebody in that group. They haven't been as quick, and I'm not even seeing any one of those 3 teammates now up in the top 10.
Yeah, I think every single one of them came down again. To top off, Jose being the first of those teammates that he was talking about. I just want to say thank you, Kurt, to the Fueled Up guys. We got 2 different pairs of cars, both running identical paint schemes. Thank you for making us broadcaster jobs even harder. Only one of you is running a different scheme. But yeah, at least you guys have different colored numbers so we can kind of tell, but at speed, if we miscall you a different driver, that's your guys' fault.
I don't know. I see Jason Blaney out there with the black and blue. I see Wesley Jeanette with the white and black. I see John Tiller with the black and white and red. I see Johnny Dipsquale with the white and black. And then
Nathan Line.
Oh, Nathan Line, okay. Well, we're in the restart zone back on the front stretch, and we are back to green racing at Talladega, Shad. We're 11 laps into an 80-lap race. We've got the stage break coming at lap 35, so that should be coming before these guys, or these guys are probably going to have to pit, most of them, especially the leader, Shad, because the leader is pretty much to the floor most of the race, which drains their fuel a lot faster than the guys who are sitting behind them and can run 60-70% throttle and just sit back here and coast along. Because of the draft is so strong, it keeps them in the pack, keeps them together. But those guys on the full tilt down to the bottom, pushing that gas pedal as hard as possible. Wow, Shad, it looks like Johnny Dipsquale just faked out Devontae Peterson by doing the same thing the 22 did earlier in the race, Shad. And actually, I don't think that was Johnny Dipsquale. I think that was Wesley Jeanette. So yeah, messed up on the names already.
Yeah, where's Johnny? Okay, Johnny's the second white and black one. He's behind Jose Ruiz right now. And then they got Nathan Line, third in line on the bottom. So that's the other 2 cars that they're trying to get connected with their 3 teammates out front. But yeah, they pulled another dummy. Faked Devontae Peterson to the inside. State went back up top and got him out of the line of separating those 3 cars. And Kurt, if you can have your teammates all in a line, it is very difficult for the pack to pass you. Because obviously you guys have worked well together. You can push, you trust one another, and
you're also in the same Discord chat too.
Well,
you can communicate very well.
Yeah, you can let each other know, hey, this line's coming. let's get down and block it. But right now, Kurt, I'm seeing a lot of cars start to migrate to the top, so this could be the rim riding effect that we see a lot here at Talladega, where, if you're not in that high line, you're losing time. It's going to take quite a few cars on that bottom groove, probably double, if not, maybe 5 more than what's up top, to be able to really start making that bottom line go. If not that, it's going to be, some serious pushing for that bottom line to make up time.
Yeah, I myself prefer the top line, even from the start of the race. I don't like being on the bottom. I feel like I get pinched down on the bottom, and that line is so close that if you touch it, sometimes the car gets wiggly, and coming off of the corner, it seems like these cars want to get looser as you go, and they bounce on you. So it's hard to figure out how to stay in line when you're on the bottom. You see a lot more wobbling and back and forth.
Yeah, the bottom line, the tighter radius of the turn, to it, and if you got somebody really pushing you hard, it's hard to keep that car on that yellow line coming off of these turns, and you're trying to put more wheel in it because of that, and the car, going from banking to flat like here at Talladega, it upsets the car. So to me, it's easier to drive. I just like the bottom because if there is grass and maybe save your car to where all the to avoid it, except for maybe the wall if there isn't a car there. But I do like the top as far as driving and obviously the momentum that's carried up there.
Yeah, I prefer that top line. I like being able to say, nobody's on my outside. At the bottom, there could be somebody in the middle, there could be somebody on the top, and that's where it gets dangerous. So I prefer to have the outside line where I know nobody's to my outside. Yes, there's people to my inside, but if I stay as close as I can to that wall and rim right around this thing, we should be fine for the most part here. But Shad, we're getting into lap number 15, so stage break coming up in 20 laps.
Yeah, they pit with 9 laps in, so these leaders being that outside line, Devontae Peterson and a few behind him, they're going to have to pit around lap 29 if you're the leading pack or leading driver of the line. Guys coming behind you I don't know for sure, but what we were told during practice was 20 to 23, so they could make it somewhere around that 32 lap mark. But Kurt, right now on the bottom, they're making up time. Devontae Peterson has now clawed himself back up to the inside of our leader, Jason Blaney, and we got a side-by-side battle, Kurt, for the lead.
Yeah, Isaac Brock has been doing a really good job of pushing that 5-car, Shad, and the 38 and 8 line has joined into that group as well, even though he's a fueled-up motorsports guy. Now we've got 4 of them in the top 5, Shad. Papa Bear Campbell on the bottom line with the 15 of Connor Elliott as well. Those guys have been in a little bit more sync. 45, a little bit wobbly there. Almost went underneath the yellow. Thought maybe he was going to try to make a pass on the 5. But I think he just got loose a little bit there as they went through the tri-oval. But as we go into turn 1, Chad, we're 2x2 for a lot of rows in this field. And Jason Blaney and Johnny Tyler and Wesley Jeanette all in line up on the top. Bill Hell's just kind of sitting back there following these 3 teammates. If he's going to work with a group, Shad, why not work for the group that has the most cars on track that can help you get to the finish line?
Yeah, and there we see those 3 cars. They seen the bottom line. It was getting good momentum. There's more cars down in that bottom line, so all 3 cars decided to jump ship and join the bottom line, which left Bill Hills alone on the top side, and he's only got 4 cars behind him. So that bottom line or top side is going to be falling back, I think, unless they start side drafting really hard to try to pull some of those cars back. But Kurt, right now there is a lot of cars down there on that bottom line right now. Not too many up there venturing the high side.
No, and I was surprised to see them move down there. They had, fast laps up on the top. They had some good drivers on the top that can push. 4 or 5 cars, Chad, can compete with even the bottom line having more line or more cars if they stay tucked in on each other. But they were getting a little separation back from fourth, fifth, sixth from the front three in that outside line. So it was probably a good idea for him to come down to the bottom shed. But now look at the top line, surging back with Bill Hills on the outside, being pushed by Austin Walton in the 9 and the 23 of Jose Ruiz as they come through the tri-oval again. 42 of Johnny DePasquale ducking down to the bottom line, Chad, getting behind the 5-car Devontae, leaving Jose Ruiz. Now you got the 45, 38, and 63 and 15 on the top line, and we're 3 wide for back for about 7th or 9th, Chad.
Yeah, the bottom line, there was a bit of a separation curve between Papa Bear in that 71 and Jovi Ray in the 33, and that pretty much left both lines even as far as cars up there, and that's why we've seen the surge on the top line because of the momentum that the top line carries. Now that we're kind of back equal to having the same amount of cars until we get to that gap back there, I think the top line could prevail. But also something I noticed there, Kurt, is Bill Hales in that 53 machine. He was doing some side drafting, and it started pulling some cars back, and I think that also helped. But right now, Kurt, these guys are doing a fantastic job keeping it clean. I don't see any big-time moves that are maybe a little dangerous for this time period, but, so far, looking good.
Yeah, and Chad, we've got still the multiple groups going here. You've got the front pack, which is consistent of, about 14 cars, 15 cars in there. And then you have Cole Martin leading a small group right behind this group with the 21 and 39. He's not too far off. He's probably still in the draft to the 34 of Logan Joyner and Bill Sleep on the outside, but he's closing that gap a little bit now. But then you have all the way back to John Osborne's group, who's a little bit further back behind Nick Gowan there. And then we've got like 6 or 7 in that group. Is that too close, Shad, that if a caution comes out in front of them, can they get wound up in time with them being this close to the pack of about 15 cars in front of them?
Wound up in time, yes, if it's not like cars that come to a complete stop when they hit something. It at least gives them a little bit of time to get slowed down. The problem is you're hoping that the people behind you are also slowing down like you are. If not, obviously they're going to push you. As a wreck, Kurt, big wreck here on the backstretch. I see a lot of cars involved. 5, 23. It looks like some of the fuel
still wrecking back there.
Guys. Yeah, big wreck.
I saw Nathan Line involved in that too. There was a lot of cars wrecking, even going into turn 3 and 4. Bunch of cars back here though with some damage. Look at the 81 missing a right fender there. And then a few more back here in the back that are missing some pieces and some definitely damage. Look at the 45 Shad. He's tracking bad. Looks like he's got a broken toe link over there. Kind of walking, dog walking or whatever they call that, where it is kind of driving a little sideways. We'll take a look back and see what happened here with this caution, or what brought out this caution.
That's going to be teammates that started that.
Which teammate you got?
Fueled Up Motorsports.
Would that be Nate Line?
Yeah, it looks like a... the 45 gets on a 23, makes him a little loose. They hang on to it, but then there's a checkup between the front two and then Wesley Jeanette, and Johnny D gives Wesley Jeanette a push, and that's what sends Wesley around in front of, the remainder, and he clips the 23 barely, and that's what gets Jose, and then I don't know what happened with the continuing wrecking behind, farther on.
I think that was the 26 getting put in the wall and slid down the track and hit the 38 there. We'll move back. I was riding along with the 38 there. We'll move up to Johnny DePasquale pushing the 74 Wesley Jeanette and Jason Blaney there. As they come off of this corner, you'll see the carnage happening. The 42 kind of hooked the 74 there, turned him out to the outside wall, spinning the 23, and a lot of other cars getting involved. Just carnage everywhere. But look at the 3 Shad of Nick Gowan out on the outside, just kind of rolling along there on the top line, avoiding any kind of incident.
I'm looking at that 71 of Michael Campbell.
I wasn't sure if he was involved or not. I saw him right there at the back bumper of somebody.
Yeah, he got it woed down and did some zigging and zagging and made it through there unscathed.
We're right inside of the 71 of Papa Bear here, and we'll watch to see what happens. Whew, he's parted for him. Ooh, and then had to avoid the 26 and run right into the 38. Wow.
Yeah, good job by Papa Bear. Avoiding the wreck and keeping that car clean and hanging on to that fast repair Kurt. And I believe he came down and topped off for fuel, so he should be good to go to the stage break. A few others, though, I don't believe came down, so there might have been part of that group that topped off after that first wreck. And with these caution laps, that should maybe get them to the end.
Yeah, Jose Ruiz out there in the 23 Shad just came into the chat and said clipped in the left rear every time. Well, Jose, you're on pit road picking up some damage. Looks like you're going to be able to come back out on the track, maybe get that 23 up to the front. But it's Talladega. That's what happens. Shad, I don't know if you want to run out there and try to find a driver to bring up here. I know your good buddy Chris Murphy is out front now with Brandon Watkins also in that 44 5-hour energy paint scheme. Looks like they're going to be up front. There's nobody a lap down, Chad, so no lucky dog award for the last two cautions because we haven't had anybody a lap down. But we do have, looks like Ryan Horvath is actually going to go a lap down now, but he will not be the lucky dog award winner.
We'll bring up Chris real quick. Murphy, you got a copy. It's Shad and Swats in the booth.
I got you.
What's going on, Murph? You're out front at Talladega. You're used to being out front. You finished second or third in a lot of these super speedways and Velocity Motorsports. Your teammate was just involved in an incident there, but you're the lone man up at the front between your two teammates that are now in the back. What's it looking like there on track? You guys were running pretty smooth side by side for a long time, but then it got a little haywire there.
Yeah, looks like the bottom line has a little bit of a problem staying in line. They're kind of swerving all over the place, at least from the back point of view there. So I figured I was saving enough fuel there. I was going to not pit because I rode a pit at the stage break, and then the big decision was, am I taking inside or outside? But I think the outside is where you want to be at. I think you get a little bit bigger push coming out of the corners there.
Well, real quick, Chris, so we got you. You said we seen you come down, top off after that first caution, and then you were in the pack saving that fuel. Do you think you got enough to lead the pack and still make it to that stage break?
Yeah, I think so. Or we'll find out. I'm pretty sure I'm good. I have the sim racing apps, and it's telling me I'm good to go. So I guess I'm putting some faith into this, and we'll see how it goes.
All right, Chris, well, we appreciate you coming up and joining us here during this caution, and we'll see where you're at here at the end of the stage.
Thanks, appreciate it.
All right, Chad, guys are coming off of turn 4. Pace car is going to go down pit road. They've got a long way to go through the tri-oval to get to that restart zone, but we're going to go back green here as the green flag is up in the air by the official on the stand, waiting for him to come into the restart zone, and we'll go back green on lap 25, Chad. We've only got 10 laps to go before the end of the stage. Where do you think we're at here in the race? Are we done with cautions for now till we can get to that end of the stage, or do you think we'll have another caution with guys being aggressive to get those stage points?
Hard to say, but I know right now Chris Murphy on that outside gets the jump, but he's got two cars behind him that are teammates that obviously are going to try to shuffle him out to get those stage points. The 15 of Connor Elliott does not get a good jump on that outside line. Stacks up the entire outside curve. So it's kind of a breakaway right now on the outside as only 3 cars are up there. It's the bottom line, Kurt, right now, but we see guys switching, and I see some fueled up motorsports teaming up.
Yeah, a lot of guys moving around there. You can see the gap there between the front 7 or 8 guys, and then you got the rest of the pack lined up. No, they're not going to lose those front car shed. They're probably going to come with a big head of heat, big head of steam. Once they get wound up, it takes about 3/4 of a lap for these guys to get wound up. And you'll really hear it in the cars. You got to do the shifting. When we do qualifying, Chad, you'll hear a lot of guys running in a specific gear all the way up to the wall, and then dropping into that 5th gear to keep it going through the tri-oval to have that full run of speed into the start-finish line to start that qualifying lap. But Chad, we're 3 wide for the lead. Jason Blaine in the bottom with John Tyler and Cole Martin. Brandon Watkins just split the 7 in the middle now in that sucker hole with Nick Gown right behind him. They're still touching side by side. Bill Hills moves the 7 into the 9. And Austin Walton is backwards on track, Chad, getting pushed by Jake Rowell, and he's going to continue to push him. We just saw this at Darlington, Chad, with Kyle Larson pushing Ross Chastain and Jake Rowell pulling a Ross Chastain there and pushing that 9 out of the way and spinning him around to get him out of the way and get going. We'll take a look back here and see what happened to bring out this caution. I know I saw the 53 and 7, Chad, come pretty close to touching, and the 7 moved up just a little bit. It looked like the 9 maybe touched the wall and got turned around.
Yeah, so Chris Murphy tries a side draft to 53, and it looks like there's a little bit of a net code because then all of a sudden Bill Hales' car kind of gets a little twitchy, and that shoots the 7 up into the 9. 9, they keep it straight, but the 9 comes down a little bit, and Jake Rowell tries to go to his outside, it looks like, and the 9 tries to fill that gap back up, and unfortunate for him, Jake Rowell's nose was already there, and it turns the 9 into the wall right in front of Jake Rowell. And then it looks like Jake's kind of mad, and like you said, just stays on him. His car actually didn't look that bad until he decided to stay in the gas. It looked like he did a little bit more damage to his car than what he might have had by doing that.
Well, we're going to be under caution, Chad. We just talked about if we were done with cautions, and we're quickly under another caution here before the next half lap was completed. Now we're coming up on lap 28 to be completed. We'll be coming to probably 5 to go before the end of the stage. Yeah, we've got some guys coming down pit road. Do you think that's a good idea to come down pit road now unless you've got damage? I don't see a reason to unless you're really worried about fuel. But with the cautions we have had, I would assume everybody's good to go to the end of the stage.
Yeah, try to do the math, and if you pit now and you run, 6 laps under green, well, it looks like we'll be running 5 laps under green. That's going to mess you up for the final stage to where you definitely cannot make it on one stop. So, I mean, if you're planning for track position, yeah, it's a great strategy call. If you're playing for the strategy of...
If you pit now and take tires and fuel, Shad, and you come down at the end of the stage and just take enough fuel to get out, wouldn't that move you up in position as well? Because the other guys are going to need more fuel that have not pitted, so they're going to be on pit road even longer than you would be if they're even not taking tires and they're just taking fuel. They're going to be on pit road a little longer, wouldn't they?
Oh, yeah, for sure, because I think anyone that pits once the stage break finally comes to an end, I think they put tires on it. So obviously that's going to take longer than, guys that maybe pitted now, put tires on it, and then you just take fuel and maybe just go fuel only from here on out unless there's a caution. But yeah, that could be a strategy play as well to gain you some track position. Other than that, if you stay out under the stage break, yeah, you'll gain track position there, but it's going to mess you up on fuel to where you're going to have to make 2 stops for sure, to where some of these guys that pit at the stage break, they could make it on 1 stop if they stay in the draft. But, I mean, obviously the caution changes every strategy. But, yeah.
Well, Shad, we've got some people out there in the chat. We've got the Super Speedway guru himself, J-Paw, saying, good race last night, Shad. And also, that 22 is better than me, Swats. I don't think so, J-Paw. I've not seen this 22 win on a Super Speedway yet, and I've seen you win multiple times on Super Speedways, and I still will say I have never seen anybody win on a fuel strategy call running out of turn 4 with gas and making it all the way to the finish line to win the race. So, don't think this 22 is better than you so far. We'll see later on, maybe, but I don't see it. Sandra Nelson out there saying you guys are great announcers. Thank you, Sandra. Appreciate you showing up week in and week out to support your grandson there of Johnny D. Chad, this is going to get interesting. We've got Fueled Up Motorsports up on the front row, three deep, first, second, and third. Again, Cole Martin's going to be that lone person there in the top four. Brandon Watkins is going to be there. Bill Hills, Chris Murphy, Wesley Jeanette, another Fueled Up Motorsports guy. Nick Gowan finally cracking the top 10, Chad, before we get to the stage break. Bill Sleep in that 63 will be sitting P10, the last position for the stage points. Isaac Brock in the 45s made his way back up into P11. Andrew Bolander is there as well. Connor Elliott, Jovi Ray, Mike Papa Campbell sitting there in the 15th spot. Tyler Belanger back in 16th, up plus 8 spots. John Osborne in 17th. Brian Phillips 18th. Sean Walton 19th, up plus 11 from his starting position. Devontae Peterson back in 20th. Nathan Mon 21st. Jose Ruiz slipped all the way to 23rd, Chad. Logan Joyner back in 24th. Nate Lyon, Austin Walton, Jake Rowell, Ryan Crooks, Hagen Joyner, Michael Carter, and Ryan Horvath round out the rest of the field of the top 30 cars on track, Chad. We're down the backstretch here. Jason Blaney and John Tiller have been up front majority of this race, whether it's between first and third, Chad. They really haven't slipped outside of those positions. That 12 and 22 look very fast, look very good, and have been working very well together. Johnny D moved his way all the way up 10 spots to that third position, so he's looking at some good stage points as well. Do you think we're done cautions now, Chad? We've got 5 laps to go before the end of the stage.
I hope so, because I don't want this thing to turn into a wreck fest. But I mean, these guys are trying to get those stage points. Stage points are key, and you know, with the regular season coming to an end very quickly, every little point's going to matter. So we could see, you know, maybe 2, maybe 1, maybe 3 more cautions before the stage break. Hopefully not. But Kurt, these 3 team cars up front with Fueled Up Motorsports, they're making it very difficult on the rest of the field. Because they're all in the same chat, they can all communicate and let each other know what line's coming, jump down and block it, and then you know neither one of them are going to pass one another. So it takes a group of guys that aren't teammates to pass teammates, and right now we're just not seeing much of those other cars work well enough together to get by those team guys. So it's working out perfect for them, but how are they going to sort it out when it comes down to the end and they're coming to the checker flag for the stage of who gets the win of the stage?
I don't know, but we're going to the restart zone. Green flag is in the air with official. He is out there waving it right now. Jason Blaney on the loud pedal through the start finish line. We're back underway now. Chad, we're headed into turn 1. Fueled Up Motorsports in top spots. Can we make it to the end of the stage without another caution? We got guys trying to get these top positions for the stage points. Stage points matter a lot. Nick Gowan has collected the most stage points this season and is out front in the points by 70 points as of right now with his 2 wins as well. But it's something that some drivers need to work on. Jose Ruiz last week after finishing in the top 3 at the end of the race, Chad, in the post race, told us that he needs to start working on stage points, that he's been missing out on stage points. He's never been very good. He's down on the apron, very, very slow right now. He has lost the draft.
Yeah, it looked like there was a bit of a shuffle, and Lockbear had to go down to the apron to avoid a wreck, or a possible wreck. And unfortunately, you go down there, you got to slow down. But the good news about that is he did not wreck the car, and he's hanging on to that faster curve because he's definitely going to probably need that when this thing comes down to the end. And yeah, he's going to lose out on stage points, but you know, you can make that up. Back up front, Kurt, that 31, he's looking pretty good on that outside, Kurt, as there's a bit of a stack on the bottom, Kurt. The team cars are having a problem with that 44 of Brandon Watkins being in front of them. And right now with them all stacked up on the bottom, they have nowhere to go to get around him. And that outside line, Kurt, led by the 31 of Cole Martin, is prevailing. And look who's up to the 5th position now. It's Nick Gowan, as now those team cars, Kurt, go 3 wide with the 44 to try to shuffle him out. And we are going to see some melee, Kurt, coming down with 3 laps to go for the stage.
Yeah, Jose Ruiz and Tyler Belanger 3 wide for 2 rows there with some Fueled Up Motorsports there. We've got Failer out there in the chat saying number 5 is number 1 in our hearts. Devontae Peterson there in the 5 Kellogg's machine right in the mix of this. He is stuck
4
right. We
wide,
got Rhett
Kurt.
going with the 33, spinning off track. He stays in it, Chad. He's going to continue on. He's going to come back up on the track. He's going to hang on there. Good thing for him that he did not cause any kind of incident there with hitting a wall or getting other drivers involved. But Chad up front, Nick Gowan comes with a huge head of speed
Look
with
at
the
the
GSD Spider.
run.
Wow.
Look at
Brandon Watkins coming to the end on the top side. Tries to go around the 3-3, moved up just a little bit. 44 avoided. That's going to stack him up on the high side. 3 wide for 4th position with the 15, 53,
4
and
wide.
34.
Now 3 wide, 3 rows, wrecking Kurt. 88, Tyler Belanger involved.
Chris Murphy, 29, 45, 38. All involved in this one, Chad. Caution is out. This will probably be our stage break, I'm assuming, as we are on lap 33. And Chad, Nick Gowan is going to win the stage. He has won at least one other stage this season. I kind of thought Cole Martin was going to grab another one, Chad. He's been Mr. Consistent on winning the stage wins. He does not have any wins at the end of the race this season, but he has been the stage king pretty much for four races, I believe, where he has won the stage.
Yeah, I'm looking at Chris Murphy's car right now. Yeah, he got involved in that one. Looked like he T-boned the 88 and then got hit from behind, but I don't see a whole lot of damage on that 7 car, actually. So as long as the steering wheel is straight, I think he should be good. Tyler Belanger, like I said, got a whale of a hit on that driver's side. Not sure how much damage he has. Just heard over race comms that John Osborne told him it looked great. But that could also be him lying and saying it looked great.
We've heard that before.
Probably at least 10 cars involved in that wreck right there, and I'm not sure where it actually started.
Well, I just looked at it in replay here from the 7's point of view from the back of them, and it looks like it started with the 73 that were 3 wide there with the 88 and the 12, and the 63 of Bill Sleep comes up, and the 88 comes down, and it looks like the 88 comes down a little too far and clips the 63, turning him into the wall, starting this whole fiasco back here. But, yeah, there's about 7 to 8 cars involved in this one. The 7 doesn't look too bad, like you said. The 10 had some damage on the right front bumper. It looked like he lost a fender there, or at least there was a piece of fender sliding around there. 29 slides on all 4 tires. No damage, really, I can see to his. And then the 45 and a couple others were involved there. I don't see any really heavy damage on a lot of the cars.
Yeah, 38, Nathan Line involved in that one as well. Not sure, but I think he already used his fast repair, so hopefully it's not bad for him. Tyler B, pretty good damage on the front right and I think the right rear, but I mean, if the steering wheel is straight, which it's not, doesn't look like it's straight at all, so he's got some suspension damage for sure in that 88 UPS machine. But yeah, Kurt, that guy's going for it for stage points. I mean, 4 wide here, which is doable here at Talladega, but it's obviously very sketchy, and you got to rely on everyone holding a very good line. 3 wide's pretty easy to go around here. I mean, heck, they got the lines painted for you to show you where your lane is, but just hard racing, Kurt, for stage points.
Well, we're going to go grab Nick Gowan, who won this stage here. We'll bring him up here to the booth. Nick, you got a copy in that Mr. number 3 GSD Spider paint scheme. You just won the stage for Talladega, race number 9. How are you feeling in that number 3?
Pretty good. Was not expecting that move to the inside to work as well as it did. So happy to get the stage win. Extra bonus points. Can't be mad about that. Feeling good about the race. We haven't been running up front as much as I would like, but it's still a lot of racing left to go, so we'll see what happens. But feeling really good to answer your question.
Well, Nick, we heard you talking to us before the race started that you're going to be missing the next 2 weeks after tonight. How much added pressure is that kind of putting on you to kind of have a good finish and good points tonight? That way you don't lose that top spot going on into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, of course it adds a little bit of pressure, but yeah, just trying to go for as many points as I can. Definitely winning that stage and kind of eases the burden a little bit as far as like where I finished tonight. So it's an extra 10 bonus points and a playoff point. So makes it a little easier rest of the race. So, but I don't know. I like super speedways. I have a feeling I can get myself where I need to be towards the end of the race. I mean, just like at Daytona. So Feeling good about the ending. As long as I keep the car pointing straight forward, I think I'll be okay.
Well, we saw you make a big run at Daytona, like you said, and then everything went to crap at the end of turn 2. But here at Talladega, it's not really turn 4 that everybody's worried about. It's even the tri-oval where passes can be made. With some super speedway knowledge there, is it easy to make that pass through the tri-oval?
If you time it right. Jovi and I were practicing that during practice a couple times, so I feel like I have a good idea of when to make the move and just in time to make it. It just depends on if that person, whatever car in front of me, if I'm not leading at that point, decides to make that move and maybe make a late block. But we'll see. I mean, these super speedways, it's kind of like gambling. You never know if you're gonna win it big or go home broke.
Well, Shad, why don't you go ahead and send our stage winner for Talladega back down to his teammate Nick? Which group were you down in? Was it WMS?
WMS.
Yes, sir.
All right, Shad, go ahead and send him down. Congratulations, Nick, on the stage win, and good luck the rest of the race. But Shad, back up front is going to be Wesley Jeanette. We seen him in an incident earlier, and he had to come down and take tires and fuel and get his car fixed up, and it looks like it's allowed him to jump the field and go up into the front. He did not pit that last one with the 14-lap run that he had, Chad. So he's going to be up front, but he's going to be a little lower on fuel than everybody. Tires are really not a big deal like we talked about. Connor Elliott going to be starting the outside in that Hellman's paint scheme. Connor is somebody that we haven't seen a whole lot of, Shad. He's only been in a handful of races here at Velocity, but he's up front tonight with the big boys for Fueled Up Motorsports, and they are lined up all over the place from first, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, all the way through the field to 7th. We've got everybody in that Fueled Up Motorsports besides Connor Elliott and Austin Walton in the top 7, Chad.
Yeah, I looked out on that inside row. I see 4 of them all lined up. The only loner is that 42 of Johnny D on the outside line. Obviously, he's going to try to get down to that bottom with his teammates. I wouldn't be surprised if they're already talking about it, saying, hey, I'll make a gap, you come down in. And then there'll be all 5 of them linked up, which is going to be hard for this field, Kurt, with 5 team cars all grouped up. It's hard to get by them. They can block the lanes because the guy in the back can let the leader of the group know. And then, with having 5 cars lined up, it's hard to pass that. But we're back under green, Kurt, the 74, Wesley Jeanette, followed by his teammate Jason Blaney in the 22 to get a jump. And actually, there's a gap right now if the 15 was to come down, and he does. So he splits those team cars up right now. But like we've seen, they have found a way to dummy these guys, fool them into going to a different lane, and then they, get them out of it and pass them. So not a good sign, Kurt, to have these 5 team cars all up here at the front. It's very hard for them to go. 37, Kurt, out of 80 laps. We're coming up on the halfway mark here in the next 2 laps.
Yeah, and these guys have been running now 37 lap, Shad. Elbows up now for the second part of the race, the second stage here, the final stage. We know the fuel mileage is going to come into a part, Chad. Do you plan out specific times to come in with some drivers? Are you in talks right now based on what's going on? Or is it kind of a, sling by the hip thing where if a caution comes out, you decide? Or, a set group of numbers for the laps? Or is there a designed specific number that you should come to?
Well, obviously depends on if you got teammates and
or
you got guys
run by the 71, Chad. Wow.
Yeah, he's pushing that 9 car of Austin Walton. Oh, wrecking Kurt back in the back. Johnny D in the wall, followed, I think that's Brandon Cooks. Ryan Cooks also in the wall. And it looks like maybe some teammates again.
Yeah, Nick Gowan involved, Chris Murphy involved. There's a lot of cars involved in this one, Chad. Johnny D's going to be involved. Ryan Crooks, Bill Sleep, Sean Walton. A lot of cars involved in this one, and it was a big one in the back. We'll go take a look and see what caused this one. You said teammates, Chad. Do you have any idea of which teammates?
38, Nathan Line, and 42 of Johnny D.
That would be Johnny D's second incident tonight, so maybe Johnny D's going to have to go to drafting school or something because we've seen this happen now.
Well, he didn't cause it.
Okay. So was it Nathan Line that caused it then?
Yeah,
I'll go to him.
Nathan Line caused it.
All right. let's find Nathan Line and go to the incident. All right, so you got the 38 there. Dives down to the bottom and, yeah, clips the 42 and turns him right into the 2 car. And that spins the rest of them back here, and you got pieces of cars flying everywhere. You got the 7 spinning. You got 3. Our stage winner, Nick Gowan, being turned by the 33. 44 involved. 21 involved. There's a lot of cars piling up back there. We'll go back and take a look back from the back, and I'll go into the 3 car and see exactly what happened from his point of view.
Yeah, I'm on board, Kurt, with the 3 from the front. He's got left front damage. Doesn't look terrible. I think he can repair that without a fast repair. 7 as well has got some damage. Not bad, though. I think as far as his car goes, same thing. Can repair it without using that fast repair. A few others, 63, engine blown. 2 of Ryan Crook's heavy left front damage on that thing. So he's going to have to use a fast repair as well.
Yeah, there was a lot of movement of cars, and some guys were on the brakes. You could hear Nick. He was off the throttle on the brake a little bit, and cars were just spinning all around him. He was avoiding most of them, and then the 21 came up, and they made contact. So not a lot you can do when there's this many cars on track and guys start getting turned from the middle of the pack, Chad. That's that hornet's nest we always talk about. It's why I don't like being towards the middle. I either like being at the very front or towards the entire back, to where I can lay up and slow down to avoid these incidents and avoid guys spinning or sliding on the track, or stopping on the track. But if you're in the middle, there's not a whole lot of choices there, and there's even then there's not even anything you can do. You can pretty much be off throttle on the brake and guys can still clip you, or you can get turned from behind because somebody else wasn't expecting you to slow down. But Chad, that's going to put Papa Bear at the front.
Yeah, the 9 of Austin Lowton ducked down on pit road, handing over the lead to the 71 of Mike Campbell. So Mike Campbell's going to get, that lap led and get a bonus point for that. Obviously, Mike Campbell's one of those guys that's outside of the top 12, so he's going to need every point he can get to try to get into that top 12. Still probably going to need more than that. Obviously, a win here would definitely help. And Mike Campbell is pretty good at speedways, or super speedways. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe that 71 finds himself into victory lane.
Well, I'm going to grab Papa Bear and bring him up here real quick, and we'll talk to him out there in the Nego paint scheme that you just painted for him. Papa Bear, you got a copy? This is Swats and Shadowlack in the booth.
Hey, I got a copy.
Hey, Papa Bear, first time we're talking to you this season. You're up front and leading this race now. You've got Team Nugu on the paint scheme there. What's it like out there? And there's some carnage going around here. How are you avoiding it? And also, you had a massive push on the 9 with the 45 there. Good job.
Thank you. Saturday night, the 9 and I we were in the same Talladega race with ARCA cars, and he was doing that when we were on the outside, so I was kind of hoping it would work out here, which it did, and then caution came out. But yeah, I mean, these cars they're still a little loose. They're feeling loose. And then for some reason, I'm not getting the restarts that I like, so we'll see what happens when we're here on the front row.
Well, Papa Bear, this far into the season, you find yourself quite a few points outside of that top 12. You're going to get some point, a bonus point here leading a lap. And, if you get this win, you can find yourself getting closer to get into that top 12 for the playoffs. What are you kind of feeling right now going into the later stages of this race about how your chances are maybe going into victory lane?
Well, I'm kind of hoping that we can put it in victory lane, but like I've told Tyler, and I think I've even told Kurt, I'm a rookie with these next gens. I'm out here learning and watching these guys, and to be up here finally leading a lap, even though it's under caution, it feels pretty good. Finally leading a lap in this series these guys. The competition here is is really, really good. So to be up here, hopefully I can stay here, and we'll see what happens.
Well, Papa Bear, you switched off your normal paint scheme, and you've got a new paint scheme tonight. Why don't you give us a little explanation about that paint scheme?
This paint scheme, we seen it at the Talladega. They did a segment with Jesse's father on NASCAR, and I messaged. I've been emailing Jesse's dad back and forth, and we're going to be hopefully teaming up with Team Nego and trying to get some funds raised for the joy jars that they do for kids with cancer. So this it's feeling pretty good to have them on the car and showing support for them.
Well, I know the painter personally, who's in the booth with us, but this
He
thing
did
looks,
an awesome job, didn't he?
yeah, it looks really good. I like Corey LaJoy. I like his paint schemes. So really cool to see this paint scheme out here on track, and definitely want to encourage kids to never give up, as the team logo says there. So definitely cool by you. Your group, Turn Down for What, that I'm a part of. Also, it's always a group that's been on the news for multiple different scenarios with helping kids get through situations, bringing up money, things like that. So it's one to green to coming through the tri-oval. We'll let you go.
Thank you.
All right, Chad, back out front. Papa Bear going to be leading him to the green as he goes into the restart zone. He's on the loud pedal screaming already in that Team Nigu paint scheme that you designed for him from Corey LaJoy's Talladega paint scheme. It does look really good, so great job on that.
I appreciate it. Papa Bear came with me, I think, a week or so ago. Asked me to make a few paint schemes for him, starting with the next gen. Gave me the picture, and I just tried to get it as close as I could. And it's actually probably one of the better ones I think I've ever done. So thank you, Papa Bear, for the business, obviously, and picking me to make this scheme for him. And Papa Bear Kurt right there got out to a good jump. Almost too good of a jump in my book, to where he had a few car gap between the cars behind him, but they've unfortunately stayed with him. Papa Bear obviously maybe showing that, hey, stick with me, we'll go places. And he's got that 45 who was behind him when he took the lead. But outside of him, Kurt, 13 of Brian Phillips in the quick strip paint scheme painted by yours truly. A throwback to I think 2006 Ryan Newman scheme. Obviously, Ryan Newman had, I think, Mobile 1 on the hood. But yeah, Brian Phillips on that outside line, Kurt, with Jose Ruiz in the McDonald's car. And I think that's Jake Lowell who was seen involved in an accident. All of them trying to make some hay on the high side. But Kurt, we're 3 wide, 2 rows deep, a little farther back, starting with that 15 of Connor Elliott.
Yeah, so you got 2 paint schemes on the front row, Chad. That's got to be pretty cool to see both of those out front. But Nick Gowan making big moves to go to the front. He's going to take 3 wide with Jose Ruiz and 4 wide with Bill Hills and the 74. But Jose Ruiz dropping out of the top spot, Chad. I think this is by plan. I don't think he wants to be up here towards the front like this, but he's going to stall out in the middle. Cole Martin and Nick Gowan coming from the back, Chad, moving up on the high side. They're 3 wide for second, or for third, fourth, and fifth right now.
Yeah, you got 3 buddies up top with, you know, the 31, the 3, and the 33, all buddies working together. We're 3 wide for the lead as the 31 and the 3 just shove themselves past the bottom 2 rows. Now Nick Gowan, though, leaves his buddy and goes all the way from the top to the bottom to jump in front of the 71 of Michael Campbell. 31 of Cole Martin able to follow him down and get in front of Nick Gowan. Now Jovi Ray surging through the middle line trying to lead this lap. He's got Brian Phillips in that 13 behind him. Still, Kurt, 3 wide for 3 rows right now, all behind. And we're back to 2 wide for the lead. Great racing right now.
Yeah, 3 wide for third, fourth, and fifth with Nick Gowan, Jake Rowell, and the 15 of Connor Elliott. And look at the outside row coming on the outside now. Jovi being pushed by Jake Rowell, and they're leading the middle line. We're 3 wide for multiple rows.
Oh, and Jake Rowell backs out of it. I think he realizes that it's getting a little too crazy right now and decides to get out of the mess. Jake Rowell, I think, already using that fast repair, wants to hang on to that car at least. And that's going to hand over the lead, Kurt, to Connor Elliott in the 15. This guy didn't even know if he was going to make the race tonight. Had to, what he says, do 90 miles an hour on his way home just to be able to make it. And comes out here and leads the lap. But now outside 53, Bill Hales makes a rush, followed by the 5 in that Kellogg's machine of Devontae Peterson. They're going to take over the lead for the time being.
Yeah, and look at the big run by Nick Gowan, Chad, coming up and swerving to the outside around the 12. He's going to go back to the outside again with the 45 and 22 and 31 coming to get behind him as well. That was a huge run by the 3. He had a whole head of speed coming to the 12 and had to avoid him because of the speed difference. There was a huge amount of speed difference there. Bill Hell is now stuck in the middle with Nick Gowan on the outside being pushed by the 45 of, who's in the 45? I forget now. Isaac Brock. Wow. Too many cars to go with here with so many guys up front. The 7, Chad. Chris Murphy's been involved in 2 incidents. He's moved up to the front in the top 5 on the outside behind Jovi Ray, or in front of Jovi Ray and behind Ryan Crooks.
Yeah, Ryan Crooks was
Just
just
involved in
in
that
that last wreck. Used the fast repair, obviously, and finds himself back up here battling. But, Kurt, that 3 car, we might need to check that thing. I think he might have an extra cylinder or something, because the moves he's making and going by cars practically by himself is something that we don't see at Talladega unless Earnhardt is really driving that car.
From 6th to 1st.
Yeah. Oh, Earnhardt went from like 15th to 1st in like 3 laps.
That was Junior that was doing it.
And Nick Gowan just pretty much did the same thing. Went from like 15th to 1st in probably 2 laps. That car showing incredible speed. Unfortunately for him, though, he finds himself back and forth, and now coming with a head of steam, being pushed by the 53 of Bill Hells.
There he goes again, diving down the bottom underneath the 12 with a huge run of speed from the 53's bumper. It's like he lays back, drags the brake a little bit, gets a huge push from whoever's behind him, and then just takes off down the track from the top to the bottom. I like doing that myself. I like running the top line and kind of angling down to the bottom. I watched a segment there between Mike Waltrip and Dale Sr. talking many years ago. There was a documentary, and he always talked about explaining, oh, shit, we're going to wreck the 5 getting turned by the 45.
And the 7. 7 involved.
Again.
Yeah. Heavy right side damage for that 7 machine.
I think you need to fix his paint scheme and go back to the one he had last year, or just put something on there that says, don't hit me.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't his fault, but
he's been in so many accidents this season, our last season champion, that either he's got a target written on him somewhere because he's last season champion, or he's just got some sort of demon inside that car because he has been wrecked every single week, it seems like.
Back here and see where this started. I think it was a couple rows in front of him.
Yeah, it was the 5 that got spun out and turned down in, and then the 7 got turned around.
The 45 of Isaac Brock doesn't hold a straight wheel, comes up the track a little bit and clips the 5 of Devontae Peterson, and that's how that one started. I've seen Isaac Brock, even during practice, kind of having the wobbles there going through the turns and not being able to keep a nice smooth line, and unfortunate for these guys involved in this wreck. He did the same thing there, and it seems like the person that always starts the wreck isn't involved in the wreck, and that's the case with that 45 Black Rifle Camaro of Isaac Brock.
Yeah, it's been a wild one. We've had now 6 cautions, but it's Talladega, Shad. It's like going to Bristol. You expect to see some cautions. We expect to see it. I mean, even this year, Tony Stewart was laughing during the Xfinity race that we only had 6 cars that finished that race, and he was even laughing at the end, saying that we only had a few cars that end the race that didn't have damage or that even finished. So it was just funny listening to him, but I mean, it's Talladega. It's expected. The cars are so close. The spoilers are so high on the back ends. You can't see anything, so you can't anticipate everything. And there's so high rate of speed that any little movement, any little bobble, any type of mistake or aggressive move just gets blown completely out of proportion, because it's just there's nothing anybody can do around them when somebody makes that kind of move or mistake.
Well, the good thing is, for Murphy's case at least, is maybe he was listening to the broadcast, but he did not use his fast repair on any of the other wrecks and still had it sitting there for today, or for this time. 31 though, Kurt, of Cole Martin still sitting on pit road with a heavy bunch of damage. So Cole must have used his fast repair already at some point, as that thing's got.
Just decided to hold on to it.
That could be true too, but my problem is if it's really beat up, you take the risk of pulling into the pits and then finding out when you stop that you have 8 minutes of damage, which obviously would put you out of contention for this race. or he already used it. I don't know, but unfortunate for Cole Martin, who looked to be extremely fast and really good too. And also, Cole Martin's one of those drivers, Kurt, that needs a good result because he missed a couple races to start this season, and I think he was right on the cut line or just outside of it going into tonight's race.
He was just on the outside in 15, so he needed a good race. He had some good stage points, though, so he's still got a chance here if he can get this thing fixed. I believe he is 1 lap down, so he could still technically, if he can get fixed up and get back out.
Yep, there's this fast repair. So he got the required fixed or something. Or, oh, he might have been towing.
Yeah, that might have been it, too.
Yeah,
it looked like his car was bouncing on pit road, so... but yeah, Chad, what I was talking about is there's a documentary out there on Hulu about Michael Waltrip talking about how Dale Sr. Taught him so much on super speedways, and it's talking about Michael Waltrip and Dale Jr. coming to the finish line on both Daytona races during the year that we lost Dale, and he talked about how Sr. always told him that from the top line, if you cut down to the bottom, you gain so much momentum because you're going downhill with the banking that it shoots you out of the corners. So I really like it when we get single file, we get to that top line, and then you try to rotate to the bottom to come off of turn 4 and then go back towards the wall through the tri-oval, or you can stay on the bottom and through the tri-oval, but into the corners I like to be up top and then kind of migrate to the bottom if you're out front. It's hard to do it when you're side by side, obviously, but with a little bit of room there, Nick Gowan using that to drive his 3-car right to the front multiple times with big accelerations, especially when he dives down from the bottom and then picks up a drafting partner behind him. It boosts him even more, so it almost looks like a single car doing it, but what he's doing is he's migrating from draft partner to downhill to another draft partner who's gained speed because he wasn't pushing a car prior to him going down there, and it just shoves him out towards massive speed, and he gets a huge run.
Yeah, it's something you see a lot, especially here at Talladega when everyone starts running the wall. You can't pass anyone, so what you have to do is kind of lay back, get a big run, turn to the inside, side draft, and then turn all the way to the bottom. It slows that car that you're trying to pass down. You turn all the way down to the yellow line. You might be able to get that slide job, come back up after slowing him down with the side draft and make a pass that way. And that's what looked like Nick Gowan was doing. He was getting a big run on cars and then just pulling to the inside and then pulling all the way to the inside. And the speed differential at that point was so big that he was passing cars pretty much by himself. And, you know, just amazing driving by him. But Kurt, a little more news on Cole Martin. That car is completely fixed now with the fast repair. He's going to be the only car 1 lap down. So if a caution comes out... You mean when a caution comes out. Yeah, I should say when. As long as he's not involved, Cole Martin should be our Alexandria Customs Lucky Dog recipient, which that last time by, J. Ryan Horvath in the 26 Kurt, who was 3 laps down, got one of those laps back because he was the recipient of the Alexandria Customs.
It's still showing him 3 laps down on my screen.
Maybe it was 4 laps down.
Okay. We're back in the restart zone. That 3, Shad, looks beautiful. I love that paint scheme. It's Dale Sr.'s last win at Daytona. Or Talladega, sorry. The one that Richard Childress drove around the track a couple years ago. It's a beautiful car. I like how it's designed. I like the red 3 on it. Obviously, Nick throwing a little bit of his own twist on it with his Twitch account name on the side of it instead of Good Wrench. But it definitely looks cool. I like the design. It looks good on the next gen, too. Like this.
Yeah, it's sharp. I mean, those like oranges, red, like neon numbers, they just pop so good on the black. And obviously that, you know, black car, anytime you see that with a 3 on it, anybody that's was able to watch Dale Earnhardt, you just know.
Anybody
you know
prior to 2001?
Yeah. Or anybody who's watched some reruns.
Yeah, now people that are not old enough to remember associate the 3 with Austin Dillon, but I will never associate the 3 with Austin Dillon. It'll always be Dale Sr.
Yeah, they should have retired that number in my opinion, but
they did till Austin Dillon got there.
His daddy owned it. His daddy owned it when Earnhardt came to drive for him.
His granddaddy.
And, well, yeah, granddaddy. So, I mean, at least it's in a Richard Childress car, not some other oddball team, but back up front, Kurt, 3 wide once again. I don't think these guys realize, Kurt, we still got 28 laps to go.
Yeah. It's
we
like
got
we're in the last 5 laps. Oh, and they're bumping up top. 12, John Tiller and the 34. They hold on to it. We're 3 wide.
That was that pushing, Kurt. John Tiller was getting a heck of a push by his teammate, Jason Blaney, and coming out of the turn, just could not hold it down when he was in the middle line. Goes up into that 34 of Logan Joyner. Good on them, though, keeping it out of the wall and pointed straight, or else we could have had another monster wreck in front of a lot of cars that I think have already used fast repairs.
Yeah.
But
There's a lot of cars that don't have fast repairs left.
But up front, Kurt, first, second, third on the bottom line, all team cars with Fueled Up Motorsports, followed by that 53 of Bill Hills, and then the 5 of
Devontae, who we just saw in an incident.
Peterson.
It's like these guys get into an incident. It's like it gives them liquid courage, and they go right to the front again. We saw Nick Gowan be involved in an incident in the middle of the field, and he shot from the middle to the front within 2 laps, like you said, and now he's up here running again after winning the stage break. We just saw Devontae get turned and go into the wall and be involved in a big incident back there. Now he's shooting up here to the front. We've seen Austin Walton in multiple incidents, and he's shooting back up to the front. The 81 was involved in an incident earlier when he turned a guy, and now he's moving up to the front. Jovi Ray's been in an incident. There's so many guys towards the front right now, Shad, who've been involved in incidents, and there's guys in the back who've been involved in an incident. I don't think there's anybody out here that hasn't been involved in an incident so far.
Well, I don't think that 81 has, other than, oh yeah, he was
involved in one of the first ones.
Yeah, the first one with the big checkup.
Yeah, with the 8.
Didn't have any damage on that car, but I'm looking at the front of the 9 of that Mountain Dew machine of Austin Walton. Pretty good damage on the front of that thing. It looks like it might have hit a telephone pole. So the 9, I think, as long as he stays in the draft, he should be all right. If he pulls out of the draft, I think that's where he's really going to feel the effects of that damage.
It's like running around with a plow on the front.
Yeah, but right now, Kurt, up front for about the first 20 cars, we're single filed, and they're putting a gap on that second pack, Kurt, who currently is 2x2. They need to get things figured out, or they're going to continue to lose time. But as I say that, Kurt, 33, Jovi Ray, followed by, 34, Logan Joyner, and Nick Gowan. They shoot to the top. Also behind Nick Gowan.
Those 3 are teammates, too, or working together.
Yeah, Nick Gowan, he's going to get followed by the 81 of John Osborne, who's then behind him is that 21 of Nathan Mon. Haven't talked about Nathan Mon, I don't think, all night, Kurt.
He's involved in an incident earlier and went to the back and kind of just hovered back there.
Yeah, they're all trying to get together, all buddies besides John Osborne, but they're trying to make a move. They don't want to ride around here single file and make this thing boring for us broadcasting and those watching. They want to make some moves, and we've seen that 3-car make the moves to get to the front.
And right now, first through third is Fueled Up Motorsport teammates John Tiller, Jason Blaney, and Johnny D out here first, second, and third, and Bill Hell is riding in fourth with Devontae Peterson just following him in fifth. We got a chat member out there saying not in use is from YouTube saying talk to the 22. We can talk to the 22 during caution laps. We don't want to pull them up during the race because they're so busy. Don't want to mess them up or anything. But if we have another caution and the 22 is not involved, we will definitely talk to Jason Blaney for you. I don't think we're done with caution, so I assume at some point here we can definitely talk to the 22, but we'll have to wait for a caution to come out for that. Or if we don't have a caution, we get to the end of the race and he's in the top 3, which he's been in the top 3 most of the night. We could be talking to him at the end of the race.
Yeah, Kurt, the fuel window is going to start to open up here in about 3 laps. You can guarantee yourself to the finish if you're leading the pack. If you're not leading the pack, you could technically pit right now as long as you have drafting help and make it to the end, I believe. But yeah, up front, Kurt, still single foul for the first 9 cars. And then we go back to Jovi Ray where their guys are sitting there fighting and they're losing time to those front 9 cars. And as I say that, Nathan Mon decides to go to the outside of the 15 of Connor Elliott.
He's being pushed by the 9 car of Austin Walton. Austin's got that damage on the front, Chad, but as long as he can stay to the back of the 21, he can still push a car with the draft. He just can't really lead the pack. So it's going to be hard for him to get to the end and be up front unless they start crashing and somehow the seas open up for him and he makes it through there, he can make it to the end there, but it'll be difficult to get him up there unless he can get a caution again and get some more damage fixed on that car. I know he's probably used that fast repair because he's been in multiple incidents tonight.
Yeah, someone kind of trying to hang on to this front pack, Kurt, is that 3 of Nick Gowan. He's behind the 33 of Jovi Ray. If I'm Jovi Ray, I'm kind of hanging back until my buddy Nick Gowan can catch me. But Nick Gowan's, he's still losing time cars up front.
And we're whipping through these laps. We got 20 to go when we get to the line here. It's going to be close to pit time. We've got guys who've done 11 lap runs, so I don't think we can make it to the end here yet.
No, I don't think anyone can make it to the end that hasn't hit it already. If they were to come this time, I feel confident they could definitely make it, even if you're leading the groups. But Kurt, we're starting to get separated into 3 different packs as Nick Gowan fell off completely now from this front pack. He's going to fall back to the second group, led by, I believe, the 13 of Brian Phillips. But Kurt, if I'm sitting right now,
if he's got damage, Chad.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. He was behind Jovi Ray, and then I thought he'd still be sniffing the draft of Jovi Ray. Jovi Ray was able to catch right back up to this front group, and Nick Gowan,
he's going to get passed by a bunch of cars again.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on.
I don't know if he's got engine damage or something, but something's going on with the 3 car where he is losing a ton of time. He's lost a lot of speed, and if I pull up the speed board, Chad, he's got all kinds of speed differences between the front groups, even without being in the draft. And I don't know if maybe he's conserving fuel. I don't see it, but I don't know.
At this point, it wouldn't do you no good. There's no way you could make it without pitting. He is able to latch on to that second group now on the back of it behind Logan Joyner, but lost a ton of time though by doing so. Now back here, where's he at? All the way back in 18th, Kurt. So
he fell a ton.
Yeah, this group I think is gonna have to pray for a caution to catch that front group, because the front group's working pretty well together right now. I believe they're all still single file. Yeah, and this front group, Kurt, has like, 12, 15 cars in it. So now the second group and third group have kind of combined into one. So we got 2 massive groups, Kurt, going around this track. And I don't know if that second group, Kurt, is making up the time right now. They're about 6 seconds back of the last car in the lead pack.
Yeah, pulling up the pit strategies there. Looking at the different ones, you've got all kinds of different ones. You can see their different stints that they've done, where they've done 17 laps, 6 laps, 9 laps, and now they've done 14. So there's all kinds of different blocks. We really haven't had a full fuel run yet.
No, these guys have not had to make green flag stops that I believe, besides a few that maybe didn't pit during one of the cautions and had to come down by themselves. So these guys are going to get tested here on getting on and off of pit road. And, yeah, there's not that many cars in each pack, but still, if they all decide to come at one time and you got 10 cars, all 10 cars are going to be fighting for the same real estate when it comes to...
And they're now getting a huge run on the 5. I would expect to see them to come up here and push the 5 and maybe try to get the 53 to jump out of line with them. They would have 4 cars compared to 3, and 21 goes outside of the 5 before the 5 can make the move, with Jovi Ray staying on the bottom, Chad, not going up with his teammate.
Yeah, problem is...
it's going to stall.
Or at least, yeah, they didn't have enough cars, and those team cars up front, you're gonna have to have more than what they got just to get by them. John Osborne, the 81 Kurt, now has lost his front pack. Somehow lost the draft, to be getting shuffled and passed by guys.
3 cars coming on the outside now. 21, 33, 39 of Jake Rowell. They're coming up on the outside. They've got a good head of steam with those 3 cars. 3 cars lined up bumper to bumper. Shaq can definitely make up some speed on the outside. If Austin Walton would have jumped up there with him, and Devontae Peterson, if he'd jump up in front of these guys, they would have 5, which would be better than the 4 out front of them.
Yeah, that's what it's going to take. All 5 of these guys. Yeah, those 5 cars, Kurt, are going to have to work together to pass the 4 for sure. 3 is not going to get by 5, and any less than that obviously isn't going to either. So all 5 of these guys got to work together. They keep going at them like with 2 or 3 cars, and it's just not enough to go around them because the other guys just tuck right back in on the bottom, and they just keep shuffling between themselves. They need to all get together and go as one group. But Kurt, we should be seeing pit stops here within the next, I would think, 2 to 3 laps from the guys that have not pitted yet.
Do you run it out, Chad? Or do you run it as low as possible so you don't have to put as much fuel in? Or do you pit now and take what's required, which is probably more than if you ran it down to the bottom? Because we've heard, 23 laps, 22 laps, things like that. We're at 18. If you pit now, you're going to use just a little bit less fuel than you would if you needed all 23 laps.
Yeah, I mean, I think I run it pretty close to being dry because you never know with the cautions if they do come out or not. But, and then you just come in. If you got sim racing apps, it should tell you what you need to get to the end. Obviously, you want to take a little bit more just in case we have that green, white checkered. But, up front, Kurt, 3 team cars all lined up, followed by Bill Hells in the 53. And then you got 5 guys pretty much all fighting amongst themselves of who's going to try to pass these front 4. And right now, with only 3 of them trying it every time, they're just not getting it done. And if I'm one of those fueled up guys up front right now, I'm loving this because I got my teammates behind me, and Bill Hill seems to be working pretty well with them as well. At least he's not trying to pass them. He's just riding and staying. And, if I'm like Bill Hills or Devontae Peterson, I do what those fueled up guys do. I come when they come, and then hopefully, there's a mistake between them, but
well, we've seen the fueled up guys wreck each other at least twice tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is for sure. I mean, when it comes down to it, pushing at the end.
And the 42's been involved in 2 of those, so he's in that grouping.
He caused one of them and then got wrecked in the other, but yeah, if I'm Bill Hells and I come down and I see 3 team cars and no one behind me, he's pretty much screwed at that point. He's not going to be able to pass them. The only thing he's going to be able to do is pretty much dictate who wins this race. If they pull out of line, he gets to choose who he goes with, and probably whoever he does go with is probably going to win this race.
Chad, I got to mention this too because the track temp was 123 when we started this race, and we're at 99. So 24-degree difference from start to now. Timing looks like iRacing time we've moved about 3 hours. And they're coming.
The lead pack, Kurt, besides 3, 21, 39, 33 all stay out. The rest of them all come down. Looks like they all made it down to pit road speed, judging by just looking at it. So it's going to be who takes what. I would take fuel only, the minimum required to get me to the end, besides maybe a lap extra. And other than that, who gets off the pit road and who takes advantage of the lead coming off of here.
Do you think that was a smart idea for these 3 of Nate Mon, Jake Rowell, and Jovi Ray to stay out on track with that big of a group going down pit road? And yes, they avoided any kind of incident. If those guys did have an incident going on a pit road, these 3 can pit together and maybe not have an incident, but they lost 5 cars to work with.
Yeah, it's going to be hard, now only having 3 guys instead of 8. Obviously, you're going to lose time to the pack behind you, but all 3 of those cars, Kurt, now come down pit road. When does that other larger second pack come down?
They're not coming down this time. It's being led by Logan Joyner with Cole Martin and Nick Gowan, Tyler Belanger, and Connor Elliott. Tyler Belanger was involved in a couple different incidents tonight, Chad, and he somehow made it back up here on the lead lap, and he's up into the top 10. Chasing the 3, the 31, and the 34. I know he works with these guys, usually Nick Gowan for sure. This could be something to watch here later. We've got a lot of cars in line. They're really not running that much faster lap times compared to everybody else, but if you look at the lap times from what Nate Vaughn just ran, what Chris Murphy just ran in a different group. He ran a 50.269. compared to what Jake Rowell or what John Osborne and them just ran a 50.593.
Yeah, and here comes the leaders that came down the first time around, swallowing up the 21 of Nathan Mon.
Cole
They're
Martin
gonna
making
get
a
Jovi
dive.
Ray. They're gonna get Jovi Ray as well. So it's cycling out right now to be those leaders that pit the first time around, coming with the head of steam, making it by the guys that came down second.
Yeah, and they've got the same group of guys in there, Chad, but Jake Rowell stayed out, and I'm a little confused on that one. He stayed out, and he's getting gobbled up right now by the rest of the field. He did not stay out. He has pitted, but he's by himself.
He pit with the 33 and the 21. He just got out from pit road better. So it took them longer to obviously catch him, but now he's going to get swallowed up. Oh, no, Jovi Ray's going to give him a bump, see if they can catch back up to that 5 car group that's in front of them, which they should be able to, I think, hang on to that draft.
And looking at the rest of them, Chad, they're all coming off pit road now, and they're going to be pretty far behind the leaders. There's a giant gap now from the leaders to this group. And I'm looking out front. Jose Ruiz is now out front leading this field, Chad. And he is about 17 seconds out in front of Chris Murphy. And he's about 19 seconds out in front of that group of Jason Blaney, Jake Rowell, Johnny D, Bill Hells, that whole group there. So they're coming with a pretty good group of speed, but he has not pit. There's 8 laps to go. He's got 24 laps on his tank right now, Chad. I don't think he can make it to the end for sure.
Yeah, and he's by himself. No help at all. So Jose obviously gonna have to pit, and if he does, and when he does, that should hand the lead back over to the 22 of Jason Blaney, I believe.
Well, Papa Bear's still out there too with 24 laps, so he's going to have to pit as well. These guys are hoping and praying for a caution. What I'm surprised with, Chad, is we said 23 laps. They just ran their 25th lap when they crossed the line here. How are these guys able to make it 25 laps on the fuel?
Well,
or is it off or something here?
No, there was some caution laps, obviously, to start this run, so, I mean, that might help as well, with shutting the car off and, going around here in 5th gear. I wouldn't think they'd be able to stretch it much longer than this, especially by themselves and not having any draft to kind of help. Yeah, I just heard right there Papa Bear over the radio saying that he's coming this time, so I wouldn't be surprised then if Jose also is got to come this time. If he's able to run one more
Wreck in
lap.
the back shed, 39 in the wall. No caution though, guys going down to the inside as well on the apron. Jake Rowell losing a front right fender and now in the wall again. It looks like he might have a broken toe link, Chad. No caution though. Big surprise with no caution, as there was about 9 cars in a pack there when the 39 got slung into the wall. That's going to hurt him bad.
Yeah, he's going to have to pit here, and he's got heavy right side damage.
Jovi Ray out front, Chad, with Nate Mon behind him, Jason Blaney and John Tiller coming on the outside with a huge head of steam with Bill Hells in tow. 31 of Cole Martin, 26 of Ryan Horvath. Ryan Horvath not part of this finish, as he is a few laps down. But Cole Martin, Chad, up here is running, and he is multiple laps down too. He is 2 laps down. So lap down cars involved with the leaders here. Jason Blaney, John Tiller, Jovi Ray, Nate Mon, Bill Hells, and Devontae Peterson are going to fight at this thing out, Chad, with 6 laps to go at Talladega, race number 9 for Velocity Motorsports.
Yeah, what do we got? So what, there's
5 to go as they come to the line.
7 cars actually up here that are on the lead lap. Oh, 1, 2,
6.
Huh. 6 cars. So, and this Field Up Motorsports, they lost a teammate. Instead of 3 of them, now there's only 2. So, Jovi Ray's sitting there, been the maid of honor multiple times this season. He's trying to get that first win. He's got a buddy, even though he's a lap down. He does have a buddy in that 31 machine of Cole Martin.
And the 21.
And also, 21 of Nathan Mon. So those 3 cars could, if they can get to the outside of them, make a move and put Jovi Ray in the lead. They need to clear Bill Hells. That 31 machine needs to clear Bill Hells, so they have that option to go high, which it looks like right now they are clear. Bill Hells only has.
Should they back off of the front too?
Yeah, I would. Once you get some room on your outside right now, with the 53 still kind of hanging out there, you can't really back off too much. Once they actually get enough gap out there, if I'm Jovi Ray in 21 and 31, I'd back off from 12 and get a run and have them just push the heck out of me and get around these two lead cars or team cars that have pretty much been up front the entire day.
Oh, wrecking in the back, Chad. And they're off track. Caution does come out. And that is going to help those 3 cars, Shad, that pitted. A lot of those cars that were in the back. This is going to gather them back up, Shad. We'll go to probably a green-white checkered, I would think, as we're coming to 4 to go with 3 to go once they get to the line. So this will be a green-white checker, Shad, but we'll rack them and stack them and have them going into turn 1 with about 23 cars on the lead lap at that point, or 24 cars on the lead lap. And as promised, we will bring up the 22 during this caution break here after they figure out if they're going to pit or not. But, Chad, this is going to throw a whole new monkey wrench in this for them. It looked like the 26 that was part of the lap down grouping there with the 31 was kind of moving around there. So we'll go back and look to see what happened with the 26 of Ryan Horvath.
Yeah, it's the 53, but there's net code between him and the 5, and that's what hooks the 5.
So 26 goes to the apron and then tries to squeeze back up and makes it 3 wide. And 53 kind of moves up the track, gets the net code with the 5, and the 3 of them go around. The 53 comes back up the track and clips the 10 that was also a lap down.
Yeah, Bill Hills probably should have either slowed down or held the brake, because coming back up on track like that, the 10 probably did not expect that. I wouldn't expect that either as a driver, and unfortunate for the 10, his day gets worse.
Well, we'll go and try to figure out if we can pull Jason Blaney, Shad, in the 22. I think he's not going to pit. I would assume.
Yeah, he just pit. I mean, they're good on fuel. Bring him up now.
All right.
Jason, you got a copy of the SWATs and Shadowlack in the booth.
Yeah, I got you guys.
All right, Jason, we've got probably a green-white checkered is what I'm assuming we're coming to here. You and your Fueled Up Motorsport teams has been very, very good today. You've all been pretty much up front. You and John Tiller especially have been up front a lot. We've got 3 laps to go essentially, unless we have another wreck here, but we're going to rack them and stack them with 23 lead lap cars. Can you make it to the end and get that first win of the season in that 22?
I sure hope so, man. I mean, the goal of everyone behind me, though, it's not to let the leaders stay in the lead, so it's going to be a lot of fighting, but if the cards are played right and the moves are placed at the perfect time, I mean, I feel hopeful, especially today. I feel like it's been the first shine of light this season that I've really been able to just have everything fall into my lap, so you can only see, but this Clark Heating and Cooling Shelby GT500 is pretty fast tonight.
Well, Jason, we've seen you and your team cars. You guys have done an excellent job all day, staying together and pretty much dictating this field, and bumping guys out of your line if they get in front of you guys and try to split you up. Now it comes down to just pretty much a green-white checker. You only have one teammate behind you. Those guys behind you ain't going to stick with you. At some point, they're going to make a move on you two. What can you two do to try to hang on to that lead and get fueled up at least a win?
I think we just got to pick a line that has best momentum, which I'm thinking is high side, but that just depends if you get enough cars with you, because it's very easy to get stuffed out 3 wide. But Tiller's working weird in the points right now too, so I know he's trying to get this win too. So I know I probably got his help until he exited turn 4, but after that I think it's about as fair game as any other driver behind me. So I don't know, go over it in the chat, figure out what we can do to get ourselves in the best position, and when it comes down across the line, whoever gets it, gets it. Honestly, just being honest with you guys.
Even though you guys are teammates and you both don't have a win this season, you had multiple wins last season and was a playoff driver. Could we see any sort of bumping and banging or anything like that for you two to get to the win, even though you're teammates?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, especially because the points are where it's
Good
at.
answer.
I mean,
Thank you for answering truthfully.
But hey, it's a super speedway. It's fair game when it comes to the last lap, man, no matter if you're teammate or not.
So no teammates when you get off turn 4.
Fortunately not, no.
Well,
But I completely respect it, though.
Speaking of teammates, I just want to know who had the genius idea to paint your cars all pretty much the exact same. and making our lives in the broadcast booth even harder.
I mean, I'm in charge of the paint scheme schedule, so with Johnny getting all the new paint schemes and stuff, there's a duplicate, but I didn't do the math right to know who was
Well,
duplicated.
12 and 38 are running the same
so.
one too.
Yeah, it's
You got 4 cars running pretty close to each other, and then you're out there with your own one. I think that might have been done on purpose.
Hey man, maybe subliminally, but yeah, sorry to make your job hard. I think it was just we were at the end of this paint scheme schedule, so I tried to just throw them all together, and you're running this and that, and I didn't think about which color was what. So.
Well, it's fine. You guys look good out there. You guys have run good tonight. You got multiple teammates up here in the top 10. We'll see if you guys can make it to the end here and who comes away with it.
Absolutely, man.
All right,
Appreciate
good
you
luck.
guys in the booth. Thank you.
Well, Kurt, it's going to be a green-white checker. You got 2 teammates on the front row. They're going to be split up unless one of them, lets the other in. Where's this win coming from? We got the 3 and Nick Gallen back up there in the top 5 as well.
That's where I was looking, was Jovi Ray and Nick Gowan. Those 2 are in a chat together. We've seen how fast Nick has been. Jovi's worked his way up to the front. Devontae Peterson's sitting there as well, Shad. Johnny D also behind that grouping of teammates that are on the front row. I don't know where it's going to come from. Do you think the front row is going to be able to hang on to this, Shad, with as many cars that are going to be hungry right behind them?
I don't think so. I think the leaders, they're going to get shuffled. They've been shuffling guys out all night. I think the rest of the field has taken note of that, and they are not going to stay with them. But this caution, Kurt, has grouped the entire field back up. We have a bunch of cars that were out of this that are now back in play, that had lost the draft or had to come down and fix their car. And, anybody right now can win this race. And I don't think we're done seeing cautions.
Yeah, the only thing I see a problem with for Nick Gowan and Jovi is the 9 of Austin Walton is behind him with that damage. We're into the restart zone. Green flag is waving by the official. We're going into turn 1, Chad. We'll see if we can make it around here 2 more laps as we've got 2 to go now. It is a green-white checkered, so if we get to the white flag out and they cross the finish line, next caution ends the race.
3 wide, Devontae Peterson, Kurt, looks to the inside of that 12 machine. Gets in front of Jovi Ray. Nick Gallen, Kurt, bad restart. Fell back and then went to the top. Now he's coming forward, though. Going to give his buddy Jovi Ray a heck of a bump on the middle groove. And teammates Kurt, are no more.
Oh, big wreck in the back. 38 and 5. They're off track. No caution, Chad. 38 continuing on. Now caution comes out. Caution. So that's going to shuffle a couple guys out, Chad. And a couple guys made some moves to move up through the field. Nick Gowan moved up a little bit. Ryan Crook, Chad, shot out of nowhere. And he's up into the top 5 with Jovi Ray. Wesley Jeanette also moving up too. So that adds another Fueled Up Motorsports guy to the top line. Johnny D up here. John Tiller up here. Jason Blaney up here. So 5 Fueled Up Motorsports teammates in the top 10. And it looked like Jovi Ray and Nick Gowan were going to have a huge run there before that caution came out.
Yeah, they might have. I'm watching the replay, Kurt, of this wreck, and Devontae's just sitting there kind of riding, and the 38 just comes up and just nails his left rear, and it turns him. Not sure if he was maybe trying to go to the inside, which there wasn't enough room unless he had his tires below the yellow line. But if that's where he thought was a good idea to push, that's not where you want to push. These rear quarters are very difficult when it comes to pushing, but that's what I see.
He has just a huge run in the 38, and he doesn't realize to let off the gas there. Didn't want to give up his speed run that he had, so I don't know if that was a wise choice. Obviously not, because he spun the 5 around, but you can see the huge head of speed. Once the 5 got shuffled out there, he's by himself on the inside line with no draft help. He moves to the bottom to try to pick up the bottom lane, and the 38 just clobbers him.
Yeah, now, unfortunate for the field, we got 3 team cars all grouped up here in the group, or the lead. Jovi Ray, though, has got help behind him and his buddy Nick Gowan. After that, there's really no groupings that I see of either buddies or teammates. So we're going to need some players that aren't teammates with anybody to
John Osborne,
get
Chris
their-
Murphy, and Jose Ruiz have moved up into this too, Chad. They're three from what, 9th, 11th, and 13th.
Yeah, so they actually
They're
should
gonna
be
line up.
lined up. Yeah. But they're coming back from a little ways. They're going to have to get a heck of a run and probably make it go 3 or 4 wide. I don't mind the 3 wide, especially if you're up by the wall. You carry so much momentum and it turns kind of the middle to a sucker hole. But I see a lot of guys riding the apron. Might be a few that are a little close on fuel.
Yeah, Cole Martin is going to get that Lucky Dog Award, Chad, from Alexander Customs. He gets back in the lead lap, so we're going to have 24 on the lead lap this time by. That's a lot of cars on the lead lap that are looking for the wins, and there's only a handful of guys with wins. So there's a lot of aggression that can come out in these last laps, and we can see multiple green-white checkers. This would be our second.
Yep. That's huge for Cole Martin. I think he got the Lucky Dog the last caution as well, because I believe he was 2 laps down. So Cole Martin getting both of those laps back in quick succession and finds himself now a player. I mean, you can start 20th right now and still find yourself. I don't think we're going to be done with the wrecks, and I believe we have one more go at a green-white checkered.
Yeah, we'll see how this ends up, but I don't know, Shad. How do you think we're done? This many cars on the lead lap for a green-white checkered, and a lot of guys hungry for their first win. Pretty much everybody in the top 4 have not had a win this season, with Jovi Ray, Johnny D, John Tiller, Jason Blaney, Brandon Watkins involved in there too, Wesley Jeanette, John Osborne, Chris Murphy, Austin Walton, Jose Ruiz, Isaac Brock, Papa Bear. None of those guys have wins. The only guys that have wins in these groupings is Ryan Crooks, Nick Gowan, and Nate Mon.
Yeah, 7 out of the top 10 do not have a win. 7 out of the top 10 probably need these points that come with the win. Obviously, everyone wants, if you're going to be making the championship fight, you want these playoff points that come with the win as well. But Kurt, I hate to say it, I think this race finishes under caution.
Well, we'll find out here. We'll go and grab maybe John Tiller. I'm looking for him right here.
Better make it quick.
Yep. John, you got a copy of this Watson Cadillac in the booth.
Hey, how's it going, buddy?
What's going on in that 12 car? You guys have been very fast. You've got 3 Fueled Up Motorsports guys, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. You and Jason have been working really well together with Johnny D. Do you have what it takes to make it to the end here without being involved in a caution?
We're going to hope so. We went with the strategy of just staying out front and hoping everything happens behind us, and so far that's what's happened tonight. So we're going to try to stay up here in the front and see what happens here.
Well, John, you and your teammates have been working well all day. Now it comes down to who wants this win. All 3 of you don't have a win. You're going to probably need a teammate to push you to it. How are your feelings coming down to the end of this?
I think it's going to be a battle, but it's going to be a clean battle. We're going to make sure that one of us win it, though. I can guarantee you that.
It's funny you said that, because we asked Jason Blaney the same question last caution, and he said he would bump and bang all the way to the line. Coming off turn 4, there's no teammates, so you might have to go down there and remind him that you guys are teammates, or take that in your notebook and remember that when you come to the line. If Jason's right there with you, he's already said he would bump and bang. So good luck, and we'll see if we can get to the end here.
Absolutely, we'll see how it goes. I hope to be talking to you here in a few minutes.
All right, good luck.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't think he knew Jason said he would bump and bang to the end, Chad. There must be some other chat going on in the team chats that they, we'll help all of each other get to the end and one of us get the win. And then Jason comes up here and says, off turn 4, I don't have any teammates. So I think John's got to put that in the bank now. But we're coming to another green flag here, Chad, as they come into the restart zone, pace car down pit road. John Tiller going to lead him to the line here to start this green-white checkered. We'll see if we can make it to the end.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of cars, Kurt, going around on the apron like they might be short on fuel. We'll have to see who can make it to the end of this as well. But up front, Kurt, pretty good start by both rows. The bottom, though, is prevailing a little bit as 12 and 22 both get themselves clear of that high line. That's a benefit. They got that teammate of Johnny D on the outside line leading it. They can get up in front of him, which it looks like Jason Blaney jumps up in front of him, and then Jovi goes 3 wide now. He's got Nick Gallen wrecking in the back.
34 and 9 of Austin Walton around.
Oh, another wrecking in the front, Kurt.
And it's the teammates. And Ryan Crooks is going to be out front, Shad, but we did not make it to the white flag. So we got 2 different incidents going on.
After the caution they
I
wrecked.
think John took that to heart after we told him. But we'll go and take a look at the first part of this caution, Shad. Looking back here, I know it was Austin Walton that was involved in the first part of this incident, so we'll take a look from his view. Oh, it was Logan Joyner. Him and Logan got turned around there, and then when we moved up front.
Is actually 45's hooking the 34. 34 does come up though on that 45. And that's what hooks the 34 into the 9.
Yeah, and Shad, Jason Blaney turned John Tiller from the front. It looked like he tried to get a little run and tried to move up to the block on the 33, got moved down to the bottom and hooked the 12 and spun him right into the wall. Don't think he spun his teammate on purpose there, but tried to throw a block on Jovi, was a little late on Jovi. Jovi got run into the wall just a hair there, and Jason swung to the inside, clipped the 12, turning the 12 around. But that's teammates going around there, Shad, and we said we weren't sure if those guys were going to be able to make it to the end here, and unfortunately they are not making it to the end up front. Now, we're going to have another green-white checkered here, but I don't know if they can get up there.
I'm curious to see who's going to have to pit here, because there was quite a few guys that were running around the apron. But yeah, as far as the fueled up guys, Nick Gallen's going to have to pull down pit road, Kurt, so he could not make it.
Yeah, Nick Gowan coming down, Wesley Jeanette, John Osborne,
Chris Murphy,
Papa Bear, Chris Murphy, 29 of Andrew Bolander, 38 of Nate Line, all coming down pit road.
Yeah, they're probably just going to take like a gallon or whatever the least amount you can take.
And somehow Jason's back up front, Shad. Did that caution come out before those guys started wrecking?
The first one did, yes.
Okay, so when Austin Walton and those guys were spinning to the inside of the wall and hit it with Logan Joyner, that brought out the caution, so that froze the field, which is going to put Jason Blaney, even though he was involved in an incident there with John Tiller, back up at the front. John Tiller's going to move to 5th, so worst for him. Jason Blaney's going to be up front, but he's going to have some damage at least to the rear end of that car from what I can see.
The front right's pushed in as well, so that car's not going to be good out front. I'm also hearing him clutching this thing, so he may be tight on fuel as well. So right now, if I'm sitting in Jovi Ray's spot, I'm feeling pretty good about myself. He's going to have a teammate of Jason Blaney behind him, but Jason Blaney, his car's not going to, I don't think it's going to have the speed with the damage on the rear and the front. A lot of guys are having to come down there and top off a little bit on fuel to be able to make it.
I think he's going to have Johnny D behind him.
Yeah, Johnny D making himself a player here in the late going. Was a player in the early, then got caught up in some wrecks, making himself back up. And then I see another teammate of theirs, John Tiller, though. I believe
he's going to have some damage.
Looks like his front end, at least on the splitter, is pushed up.
Yeah, him and Jason Blaney were involved in that issue, so those two are going to have some damage.
His doesn't look to be as bad as Jason Blaney. Now, whether or not that car can be the, have the speed up front of leading anything.
If they all wreck in front of you and you squirt out of there, you don't really need a drafting partner. So just got to make sure the four wheels keep rolling.
Yeah, and right now, Kurt, this is our final attempt on a green-white checkered. So you don't even have to get back to the line. You could just get to the lead, and they might wreck behind you, and you could win this thing right now.
Mm-hmm. So now let's go to the front no matter what, because next caution ends the race.
Yeah, so right now, if I'm Jovi Ray, I like my chances because I think he's going to have the speed advantage with that 22 having the damage. Jovi Ray could find himself the leader coming off of turn 2, and we may not make it to turn 3.
Could we really see Jovi Ray get his first win? I'm looking for it.
Yeah, and then, you know, out of these guys that did not come down and put some fuel in it, can they make it to the end as well? I hear Jason Blaney clutching it.
I'm confused on the fuel, though, Shaq, because they've only run 19 laps, and some of them run 18 and 17 that are up front. So
yeah, but you got to remember this: when they were pitting under green, a lot of them
they only took enough
fuel to get to the end.
Well, no matter what, this is going to be the end. If we get to the finish line or if we get to a caution, it's going to be ending this race. But who will come out on top, Shaq? Will it be Jovi Ray looking for his first win of the season? He's finished second so many times this season that we've crowned him the maid of honor for the series. Jason Blaney has had multiple wins last season, was a playoff contender. He's led a ton of laps tonight. He's been really fast. Ryan Crooks has 2 wins this season. Johnny D had a win last season at Phoenix. Brandon Watkins does not have a win this season, so
had Brandon Watkins in that throwback. What's Rusty
Clint Boyer.
Wallace's son? No, what's Rusty Wallace's son? He's the first one to run it.
I thought Kenny Wallace drove it.
No, it was Rusty Wallace's son.
I don't
drove
remember
the 5-hour Energy, and then Clint Boyer took it over.
Didn't even know Rusty's son ran.
Yeah. I can't remember what his first name is, though. I think he just ran Xfinity, though.
Yeah. Well, we're coming into turn 3 and 4. 22 on the bottom line with some damage. Ryan Crooks on the bottom line. Is he gonna push the 22 shed? I don't know. 42 on the outside of Johnny D. He's looking for his first win. Jovi Ray looking for his first win. Will the 42 push to 33? Will the 33 get a good enough launch and maybe get out too far on the group? Do we make it through turns 1 and 2? Then do we make it to turn 3? Do we make it off turn 4? Do we make it through the dry oval? There's so many different things that can happen, and we are ready for it. Pace cars down pit road, coming into the restart zone, the Geico restart zone. 22 of Jason Blaney will lead him into the restart zone and fire off. Green flag in the air. Back underway. Jason Blaney getting a good jump, Chad.
Yeah, getting a good jump, jumping up in front of Jovi Ray. That's not what Jovi Ray wants. He knows that Blaney's got damage. Ryan Crooks down on the bottom, no damage. It could work out for him. Jovi Ray, though, going to continue to stay with that 22 machine. Hopefully can clear himself.
Turns him.
They're wrecking.
Big wreck. Caution's not out yet. I think the caution's out, and I think it's going to be Ryan Crooks.
Yeah, I think Ryan Crooks is going to get the win.
I think he's going to get his 3rd win this season. That's going to put Brandon Watkins and John Tiller 2nd and 3rd, Shad.
Well,
I think that's how this is going to work out. It's not a race back to the line. It's when the caution light came on, and I was trying to watch closely for when it popped saying caution, and when it did, Ryan Crooks was out front with Jovi Ray and Jason Blaney spinning through the field. Brandon Watkins and John Tiller moving up to 2nd and 3rd before that light came on. Nate Mon moving to 4th. Jose Ruiz, our silent assassin, another top 5 for him. Tyler Belanger making a big run, coming from plus 18 to start this race. Nick Gowan plus 16 to 7th. Chris Murphy getting finally a good finish at after wrecking, I think, 3 times tonight. Nate Lyon going to be 9th. Connor Elliott will be our top 10. We'll go to Ryan Crooks after I find this replay of what happened there. All right, so backing it up here as Jason Blaney spun off the wall. So we'll back it up through here and look. Him and Jovi Ray. Jovi Ray can see that he's struggling in front of him. Jason Blaney is, and he's trying to get around him, trying to move him, trying to push him. They got out in front of Ryan Crooks a little bit, and I think Jason's probably just looking out the rearview mirror, trying to make sure he blocks any kind of run. You can see Jovi swerve left, Jason swerve left. As soon as he did that, Jovi swung right, and Jason swung right again and got hooked and went right into the inside or outside wall, and then came back through the field, collecting Bill Hells and multiple others.
Yes, just coming down to the end, it looked like the pushing that Jovi Ray was giving the 22 coming off of turn 2, it just got him loose. Jovi kind of went to the outside, and Blaney followed him up, and at turn the 22 in front of the field, along with a handful of others. But Ryan Crookskerk gonna finish it off with a win. I do say I called this.
That we would finish under caution.
Yeah, Brandon Watkins on the 44 5-hour machine getting a great finish here in second. And then John Tiller, we talked to him. He said one of them was going to get the win. How about maybe one of them on the podium to finish this thing off? And then you got Nathan Maw and Jose Ruiz finishing out the top 5. But overall, Kurt, pretty good race. Yeah, we did have some caution, but, I mean, it's kind of expected. It's Talladega.
We'll watch Ryan Crooks come around out of turn 3 and 4 and come to do his victory celebration for the third time this season, Chad.
Yeah, if he's got enough fuel, I seen him having to clutch it, so.
I think he'll make it to the end.
Oh, he'll make it to the end. I just don't know how much he'll have for burnouts.
Well, it's saying 1 to green on my screen for some reason.
Yeah,
not sure why. Well, it gets to the finish line, and we'll be right back after this winning burnout from Ryan Crooks. All right, we're back here for Velocity Motorsports race number 9 at Talladega. An eventful day this has been. We had 10 cautions tonight, 1 being a stage. We had big passes, we had big runs, we had cautions, we had wrecking, we had pit road, we had, I mean, it was just all over the place. But somehow, Ryan Crooks in the 2 comes home with his 3rd win this season. Ryan, I said it over break there that you were extremely lucky. Somehow you make it out of the carnage. They wreck right in front of you, first and second, turning around there before we get to the last restart. And then they wreck again on the very last restart. Somehow you squeezed out of all of this and come around here for the end of the race. How did you make it through the entire night here and make it through all this carnage?
Yeah, it was a wild one for sure. Yeah, I got caught up in we're kind of late in the back, first couple cautions that happened, and lost the draft there a couple times. And I was really in the back, off pace all night, because I got caught up in an accident during one of the cautions, and I was trying to do my best to hang on to my fast repair. So, yeah, ended up running back up there because I was already already got damaged. I'm able to keep up. I got a fast repair, so I'll come up here and just try to keep track position in case it went green. We had green flag stops, and yeah, I lost the pack during green flag stops, and when I came down and took the green flag stop, I went ahead and used the fast repair because I knew I was going to have it. I didn't want to, take it, and then they start racing near the end and caution come out. Now I got to come down and take my fast repair, and I give up track position. So restarted 12th, and man, we went green 2 laps, and I just got up on the wall, and it seemed like everybody would take these huge runs down low, and there'd be big checkups down low. So I really just ripped the top, got up to like top 5 or 6, and then the last 2 cautions, man, just everybody wrecked around me, and I just went right through the middle. Super lucky, but all in all, I was definitely don't come in here expecting to win. Expect to run good and just hope to get lucky, but yeah, we'll take those.
Well, this is your 3rd win of the season. You missed the first 2 races of the season. You've worked your way into the top 10 now with 3 wins. It's going to move you even closer to the top 5. We've only got a handful of races left in the season. Is this a big momentum shift for you for 3 wins? Even though one of them's Talladega, which is a 50-50 chance on whether or not you're winning the race or you're going home on the record.
Yeah, it's definitely a confidence boost. I mean, started off really hot, and probably gave one away at Texas, was dominating that race, and kind of lagged out. Since then, just a couple stretches of tracks where they kind of weren't my best, so just tried to kind of bide and come in here just hoping to have a good point stay, and to get out with a win is definitely huge. Gives a lot of momentum going forward. So yeah, hopefully to make some more aggressive calls. The fuel in these cars, we run 60% here, so it's a lot of it's a fuel game, and I've got some new tools that you guys kind of put me on to try to help out with that. But
so you went and got same racing apps?
Yeah, I went and got it. It helped me out a lot tonight, especially that last run. I made it with like 2 laps left on gas. So, but yeah, all in all, great win, and looking forward to the rest of the year. Just got to capitalize.
Well, it's been an eventful night. Somehow you made it through all the carnage and you get that 3rd win of the season. Shad was a little worried you weren't going to have enough fuel to get to the finish line to do your burnout, but you definitely laid some rubber down on the front stretch on that start-finish line. Congratulations on the 3rd win. Any shout-outs, friends, family, people watching, anything like that?
Yeah, just thank you guys for doing the broadcast, and Tyler and everybody that puts the league on. And shout out my boy Hagan. He was in here kind of the same boat I was in all day, ran at the back and brought home a top 10. So he doesn't race all the time, so whatever he does, it's good to definitely share some pain, push each other around Talladega. So glad he kind of dodged those late cautions and brought home the top 10. And again, thank you guys for what you do.
Well, we appreciate the action on the track and the show that you guys put on week in and week out. We look forward to seeing what happens next week. I know we're kind of going in limbo between Bristol or Auto Club, swapping it out for Auto Club. I personally like both tracks, Auto Club being one of my favorite tracks, so I'm good either way. I'm sure you guys have differences of opinions on which one. Which would you prefer?
Oh, I'm a big Auto Club guy.
Okay. Well,
yeah, big Auto Club guy.
And I know where your vote went then. But
yeah, for times 3.
All right, well, we'll send you back down. Congratulations. Go get that checkered flag, and sounded like you had some phone call or something like that coming in, probably somebody congratulating you. So good job, and we'll see what happens next week and where we're at.
Awesome. Thanks, sir.
Yep. All right, we'll bring up 2nd place finisher, and that's going to be Brandon Watkins in the 44 tonight in the 5-hour energy paint scheme. Brandon, we have not seen you in the top 3 this season, but tonight you were very fast at the top 10 most of the night there. Shad had you as a sleeper pick a couple weeks ago in one of the races, and you come out tonight and bring it home P2. Explain what your race looked like from start to finish.
Beginning of it was just a lot of checking up. I stayed out back trying to miss every wreck that there was. And then at the stage break there, I took gas only and jumped up there and was lucky to avoid the wrecks. And for second, man, I just got lucky restarting on the outside line there. And when they wrecked in front of me, there was a hole. So it worked out.
Well, it was definitely an eventful race. We've seen a lot of crashes, a lot of carnage. It's Talladega. It's expected to have a lot of big ones, or at least one big one that takes out a lot of cars. There was a lot of cars in, whether or not they were going to make it to the race because fast repairs were used early or if the guys had to use them at the end. What was your situation tonight with the fast repair? Had you used yours at all?
I actually still have it sitting on board with me. At one point, I was avoiding a wreck and clipped someone in the right rear. I got 30 seconds, so that's the extent of my damage this race.
Well, it was a very good race for you. Your first top 3 finish of the season. You're just floating on the outside of or just on the inside, I think, of the top 12 to make it to the end of the season here for the playoffs. So this is going to be a point boost for you to get yourself further into that top 12. We've only got 2 races left after this. Don't know if we're going to Auto Club. Don't know if we're going to Bristol next week, as we're on a voting pattern right now for which one those two or which track we'll go to. Do you have a preference on which track?
Oh man, Auto Club for me. I like it a lot better.
I should see a lot of thumbs over on that Auto Club side then. But very cool night. I love the paint scheme. Is this the Clint Boyer throwback, or my brother was trying to say it was a Rusty Wallace Sun throwback from Xfinity?
It's Boyer.
Okay, that's what I figured. But congratulations again on the top 2. Any shout-outs for your friends, family, anybody like that were watching tonight?
I'm going to shout out my fuel guy because I restarted there with 1.8 and somehow was able to coast back around.
It helps with a caution. You can just float it to the end. So congratulations again on the top 3 finish and getting your extra points to keep you in that top 12 hunt for the playoffs. And we'll see what happens next week on whether or not we're going to Auto Club or Bristol.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to bring up 3rd place, and that's John Tiller, who we talked to before one of the cautions at the end of the race in this 12 car. John, I gave you a warning about what Jason had said in his interview prior to interviewing you. It looked like he tried to throw a late block on Jovi Ray, and it just pushed him towards the inside, and he clipped your right rear, turning you into the wall. Build Up Motorsports guys were very fast tonight. You guys were all in the top 10 at one point. You guys led a lot of laps between 5 of you up front. You were leading towards the end of the race there up front before the caution started really getting heavy with the green-white checkers. What is it with the Fueled Up Motorsports guys? You guys wrecked each other, I think, 4 times tonight in different instances, whether it was Johnny D and Nate Line getting together, or was you and Blaney getting together, or Johnny D and I think somebody else got together too. That was a teammate. So you guys are very fast. You guys all work together. You guys all talk together. You're sitting in a chat together. You guys run many leagues and many races together. But on a super speedway, you got to have teammates. You got to have the draft. And you guys were kind of bumping and banging around out there.
A lot of it honestly boils down to we're super aggressive with the draft. And every now and again we get a little too aggressive with a push. We'll be on somebody's bumper and take a bump from behind us, and it kind of costs some of us from time to time. Luckily, I made it out of the race with my fast repair. Didn't have really any incidents other than that one with Jason. Still haven't really looked it over yet to know what happened there, but I know somehow he ended up collecting. I went across his nose. I don't know if it was his fault or what, but we'll look it over. We'll talk it over. It's just hard racing, super speedway racing coming down to the end for sure.
Well, it was definitely a fun race. You come away with 3rd tonight, your first top 3 finish as well. You and Brandon Watkins both getting your first top 3 finishes. We've got either Auto Club Bristol next week, and then we've got the final race of the regular season before we get to the playoffs. You're currently sitting just outside the top 12, I believe, down around 15th, 16th. Do you have a preference on next week, Auto Club or Bristol?
My personal preference is against the grain. I'm going to go with Bristol. I mean, that's my home track. That's where my bread and butter's at. I love those short tracks, so I'm going to have to say Bristol on this one.
I definitely like Bristol. I prefer Auto Club, but I definitely like Bristol. My wife took me there last fall for the playoff race. We set up in turn 4 up in the Darrell Waltrip section and got to watch the playoff race under the lights. So it was very cool. First time at Bristol. It was an awesome track. If you haven't been there, anybody out there watching or listening or whatever, definitely try to make a way to Bristol. It's an awesome track to see. It's fun racing. We watched Xfinity and Next Gen run there back-to-back nights, so it was an awesome race. But I don't really have a preference on either one of them, I guess, but I would say Auto Club is probably my favorite track, so just the racing style there, I guess. But any shout-outs, sponsors, friends, family, anybody out there in chat that you guys would like to shout out?
Well, of course, shout out to my wife for allowing me to do this every night. Shout out to my teammates over there at Fueled Up Motorsports. You know, we get a little physical from time to time, but those guys help me out a lot. Of course, shout out to Admin Box. They give me a fast Ford Mustang tonight. Shout out to Swift Home Buyers as well as Clark Heating and Cooling, New HD Radio. Shout out to all those sponsors that make this possible week after week, and of course, big shout out to you up here in the booth. Thank you for doing what you do.
Well, we can't do it without you guys, and it's a show every week. It's fun. It's exciting. I used to race myself. I haven't raced in a while. Kept getting wrecked every week. I think I had like 7 straight races of being wrecked, and just said, you know what, screw it, I'm going to the booth. But there are times when I'm in the booth and I enjoy watching you guys where I wish I was out there on track. Talladega, Daytona, iRacing Super Speedway, Auto Club, Michigan. There's a few other tracks in there as well that I wish I could get out there and run with you guys, but I don't think I could compete with any of you guys in this league, as you guys are stacked from top to bottom with levels of skill that are just very, very good. You guys have great racing all the time, great finishes, and just love watching you guys. So makes my job easy when you guys are up here, except for the one thing where you guys kind of matched paint schemes tonight, or at least 4 of you matched different paint schemes together. So that was a little confusing, but we talked to Jason about it, and he said he didn't even pay attention to it when he was handing out paint schemes or something to you guys about the scheduling for paint schemes. But it was definitely cool to see all the different schemes. I wish you guys would have done some more paint schemes last week at Darlington when we had the throwback race, but definitely saw some different paint schemes and definitely liked what I saw. So congratulations on the top 3 finish again, and we'll see where we end up next week at Bristol Auto Club, and see where you Fueled Up Motorsports guys end up, and if you can get another top 3 finish or that first win of the season.
Yeah, I hope to be up there in the front for sure.
All right, well, congratulations again, and we'll head on to next week. Everybody out there in the chat, viewers tonight, really appreciate it. We had upwards of 35, 40 guys, or 40 people watching between YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, and anybody over on iRock TV on Roku can see how many people were watching over there, but between the 4 different social media places, have 40 people watching is definitely pretty cool, with 30 guys on track. It's been an adventure for me. I love that my wife lets me do this. All the money that I get from the different leagues and things like that I do goes all to my son for future stuff for him, so I just put everything in his bank account and sit it there. But we've got some more racing coming up. AAR ended their championship season last night, so I'm officially done on Mondays. Tuesday night, we got Velocity Motorsports coming back next week for Auto Club or Bristol, not decided yet. Thursday night, I should be back for the Spartan Challenge Series over on iRock TV, brought to you by Repeat 1975. Should be in the booth with him to call that next race there. Should be playoff time for them, or not playoff time, but getting towards the end of the season. And then we'll be back here next Tuesday, like I said. We'll figure out where we're going to be headed, but appreciate you guys out there in the chat. Appreciate all the viewers, a lot of the comments, things like that. And we'll come back next week and see what happens.